Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out. Uncertainty, self-doubt, stressing about not knowing where to start. In. Plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out. Word art. Sorry, live, laugh, lovers. In. Knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week in Hillsdale, New York, an extra brutal and smoldering murder leads the investigation to a dark place with a suspect who has one of the wildest tales ever concocted. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us. We are extra excited, as always, today. Last week, we were in Florida, which was obviously insane because it's Florida. And today, it hasn't been that long, but we have to go to New York again because, wow, do we have a wild tale for you, folks. Quickly, though, before we get into that, just want to thank everyone for your reviews on whatever platform you listen to.
Thank you.
Wherever you listen to podcasts, whatever platform, if you can review, whatever, 5 stars, 10 stars, 300 stars, however many stars they let you give, do that for us. I don't know why, but it helps. Do that. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com and do it now. Get everything. Get all of your merchandise. There's so much merchandise. Get all of your tickets to live shows because they're all there. We hope they happen. And
boy, do I ever.
If they do, you'll have tickets for them. So check out all of those there. Please do that. especially you should check out patreon.com/crime and sports.
Yeah.
Check all that. Our Patreon this week is amazing. We are excited to present it to you. And you get, basically with your Patreon, you get 2 episodes every other week. So you're going to get an episode from each show, and you get access to everything, the whole back catalog, both shows Patreon. This week, the 2 that you get for the crime and sports bonus, it is about the malice at the palace.
Hell yeah.
Which is the big fight that happened in Detroit, which is there's a very good documentary out about it right now. And so
good.
We might as well talk about it as well. So the malice at the palace, all sorts of melee that happened when the crowd and the players got into a little fight. And as people, Jimmie and I are both, on stage, we are going to definitely probably tend with the, we're going to be with the players on this one, because stay in the crowd if you're in a crowd, because
fuck off the floor.
If you don't belong somewhere that you are, that's an automatic red flag for anybody, and you start swinging. So, but we'll get into it. Maybe we'll change our minds based on this. So who knows? And then for Small Town Murders bonus, we're going to talk about something extremely fun that I've been wanting to do: non-dangerous conspiracy theories.
Tremendous.
Conspiracy theories that these are ones that you can debate with your friends and have some fun, and nobody, shoots up a pizza place afterwards or anything like that. Nothing. We're talking things like, Area 51, you got stuff like that, and stuff like, normal conspiracy theory, Loch Ness and Bigfoot and things of that, JFK, the moon landing, things of this nature that we can all debate and that don't really affect our lives in any way, shape, or form. So it'll be a lot of fun, just a good time there. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And in addition to that, of course, you're a producer, so we are very thankful, and our way of showing that is to try to do shout-outs at the end of the show, and Jimmie will try his best to pronounce your name properly while probably failing miserably and mispronouncing it. And if you just want the shout-out and to have great karma and our undying affection, you can do that at PayPal as well, using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. Oh, and by the way, listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie this week, because I had to watch Mamma Mia live, the first one. Dude, you have no idea how bad that is.
I'm not watching that shit.
Oh, it's bad. I got tricked into it. It's all on there. It's wild, but check that out. Disclaimer, this is a comedy show. We're comedians. We're going to make jokes. People are going to die. That's why it's called Small Town Murder. There's definitely a murder involved in the whole thing. But the thing is, there's a lot to make jokes about besides a murder. We don't think actual killing of a person is funny. That's rarely funny. It's rarely funny to actually murder a person. So that's not the funny part. But the fact that you go, I think we can get away with this. I think if we kill this person, I think it's going to work out. That's a crazy that's a crazy thought worthy of mockery. So we're going to do that. But what we go out of our way to do, and we try our best not to do, we try not to make fun of the victim or the victim's family.
Tell me why.
Because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags.
There you have it.
That's how it works. So if that sounds good to you, awesome. Glad to have you on board. If you think true crime and comedy should never go together, ever, maybe we're not for you. But maybe we are. You never know. We're not for everybody. You never know. So everybody else, I think it's time to sit back and shout,
Shut up and give me
murder. Let's do this. Let's go on a trip, Jimmie, shall we?
I would love that.
All right, let's go. We're coming from the panhandle of Florida last week. I mean, that was some some panhandly stuff there. If you haven't listened to last week yet, oh my, it's about people who own a bait shop in rural Panhandle, Florida. So
Panhandle love triangle. It's handsome.
Is crazy. And there's an Igor involved. The whole thing's crazy. This week, we're going to go up to New York again, where we were, a few months back there in my old hometown.
Yeah.
This week, we are in Hillsdale, New York.
All right.
And I'll tell you how we found this murder, because that's a funny story as well in a second here. It's in southeastern New York, right on the Massachusetts border.
What?
Right there on the border, right by kind of Connecticut and Massachusetts, but connected
Southwestern, you mean?
Southeastern New York. Southwestern New York would be
Isn't
Ohio.
Southeastern New York like the city?
No, yeah. That's like this is up from there. It's like where I live.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like where I live in that bottom, that little offshoot. I guess the Panhandle. you could call it, that goes down. It's about 2 hours and 15 minutes to New York City from up here, about 2.5 hours to Boston, so kind of in between the two, about an hour and 10 minutes to Fishkill, New York, which is episode 215, which we did back then, and this is in Columbia County, area code 518. It's a big, giant place, about 48 square miles.
Wow.
Huge place, lots of farms,
swaths of land.
Lots of rolling hills. And I know this because we found this because this town is on the way to Great Barrington, Massachusetts. If you're driving from Dutchess County,
what's there?
Mid-Hudson Valley. Well, Massachusetts, and especially Great Barrington, has a wealth of recreational weed dispensaries. So if you live in the Hudson Valley, that's where you go drive to get weed.
Weird.
Because it's like an hour away. So we drive there. You drive through Hillsdale every single time is where you get off the Taconic and drive through. So I've driven past their high school. Right by their high school, there's a guy there. The house is nice, and then he has this shed that's like dilapidated, but inside there's all these power tools.
Yeah.
And he sits there in a chair with a giant beard and a tattered American flag that instead of stars says Second Amendment in it, and it's just tattered and waved, and he's got this huge white beard. It's right next to an old cemetery. This town it's a weird, like, old-timey town, though. There's like statues of like Revolutionary War soldiers and shit here. It's an interesting town, but that's how we found it.
I bet that guy's got great stories, James.
He probably from the Revolutionary War. He's just survived this whole time. That's what he looks like. He's like, I wrote the Second Amendment, goddammit. Look at me. I was here.
The original was written in my blood.
Yeah. In my house, as a matter of fact.
In my blood, in my house, dotted with semen.
Obviously. So, yeah, it's a weird little town, and driving through it a bunch of times. We drive through towns. That's how we found Bobby, Colorado for Crime and Sports, driving through Fredericksburg, Texas.
Sometimes the trip is fortuitous.
That's what it is. And then we looked this up, and Sarah found this case, and it's insane. So,
great.
A little history here. The Mohican tribe were here at first, and they were very damaged from their initial contact with the settlers here. Very much damaged.
Like
diseases.
Okay.
Diseases took over.
But, got it. Yeah.
No, they had smallpox and things that they'd never encountered before coming from Europe. Just really decimated these tribes, and introduction of liquor was also not a great thing as well.
Yeah.
Liquor's one of those things. I feel like I don't know if this is true or not, but like I feel like I don't know if like groups of people build up like genetic tolerance or something, and then if people haven't had liquor at all, and then you give them liquor, I don't know if if the liquor works. I don't know how it works. You know what I mean? If people have never had some, because I'm just thinking of like a person that's never had. Like if you knew an adult who's never had booze, and then
and not just him, but like his whole family ever.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like one person. If you knew a person who never drank ever in their life and never even were like, whoa, alcohol, they never smelled it, and then you were like, let's do a bunch of shots. You'd probably be in better shape than them.
Yeah,
even if you're not like drinking all the time, you've had some experience in it. So, they were. After a minute, the Mohicans started calling liquor the devil's blood. After they got there, and
they are dead ass right.
That holds up to this day, I would say.
Yeah.
So, they people bought land. Basically, the Van Rensselaers bought land, which included all of Albany and all the way down like the border, down like toward Massachusetts. Big giant swaths of land. This is. And the way this worked was they're quote buying the land from the tribes. The tribes don't realize that they're selling the land. That's not how they did it. And it's not like they didn't understand the concept of selling. They understood the concept of selling, but they thought they were giving rights to the land. They thought they were buying like, oh, you can hunt on our land and live on our land, not that you're sovereign on it now. They didn't understand. Yeah, that's not how, they didn't even think of that as like you could possess it like that. They thought of it as,
because it's God's. It's the God's.
It's theirs too. Right. That's the thing. So they never thought like we're going to give it to you. They were just like, oh, we're granting you usury rights, basically. Like you can fucking hunt and hang out and do all that shit.
They're like badasses, like Dons. Like, you can borrow that shit for the money and then give it back, obviously.
Like a hotel or any other thing that you don't own that you want to stay there for a while, so you pay for it. Yeah, so that was where there was some confusion there, apparently, in this area is one of the places where that started. And they were... there's a lot of still artifacts and things like that all around this area. This is a very historic area. Everything is historic and all that. In 1776, which is when the Revolution was going on, Henry Knox passed through Hillside while transporting cannons from Albany to aid the Continental Army in Boston. Mm-hmm. So this is where, and they have markers here. There's a big guy on a horse that I think is a statue of Henry Knox in the... As you drive through the town, it's they're real excited about the Revolutionary War here.
Yeah, the guy the fort is named after.
Yeah, I would assume it's the same guy. So if not, I mean, he just beneficiary of somebody else doing some shit with his name later.
A lot of family with that guy.
Yeah, maybe. The reviews of this town, hard to find bad reviews of this town, and it's just kind of it's kind of a quiet town. I don't know what you would hate because there's not a lot there.
Yeah.
Unless you hate your yard, there's not a lot to really, go after. Here's 5 stars. The cascading mountains, rolling hills, golden fields, and blue sky are just a few features of this magnificent town. Wow, this sounds like the tourism board wrote it.
Well done, F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Oof. Hillsdale, New York, population a little under 2,000. There are more cows than people. The quiet nights in the summer are bliss. Only the crickets' chirp can be heard. Best of all are the fall colors. The leaf peeping season is what brings people from far and wide.
Ew.
Just to catch a fleeting glimpse of the golden red hue. This hue I know all too well. This hue is my home. That's a real review of a town.
I enjoy leaf peeping season.
Leaf peeping. Wow. Sounds like you're just jerking off to, they're turning, man. Oh, orange. Yeah. Oh, God, they're turning orange. I can't take it.
The color's as fiery as me loins.
Fuck. Where's my Second Amendment flag? I got to dot an I. So
cross some T's.
I gotta cross a T. So yeah, someone thinks they're like a fucking poet over here, and that is ridiculous.
It's upstate New York, sir. Calm down.
Calm down. Here is 4 stars. Hillsdale is a great little community. There are nice shops. They do need more restaurants! ! Yeah. There is great skiing, and in the summer, there are some amazing lakes. It is minutes from Connecticut and Massachusetts, a quick train ride to NYC. That's one of the main features of this place, is you can get to other places quickly.
Commutable as fuck.
Which is a weird way to say you like this place. It's so great you can get everywhere away from here fast. 'Cause that's what people would say is they like about Phoenix, too.
Yeah.
They'd say, that's great. You can get to Vegas in 4 hours. You could drive to San Diego in 5. Or you can go to one of those places you want to be and not be in this place that you don't want to be. What are we talking about here?
What kind of trash are you that Vegas is your place to go elsewhere?
Right?
How is that a step? If Vegas is a step up from anywhere that you live in a shithole.
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad.
It's bleak.
Yeah, because Vegas is bleak.
It's awful. Here's
5 stars. Locals love seeing new faces walk by, and as a visitor, I can say I love the way I was treated by the locals. A++.
All right.
It's a friendly town. 3 stars. Weather characteristics of the area is really defined upon one's preference. Is this the poet again? I love the spring through the fall. This period is absolutely beautiful and green with nature at its very best. Winter is also beautiful, but be warned because it can be very long and very cold. It's in the fucking Berkshire Mountains. Yeah, it's cold and yeah. Here's 3 stars. The area where I live could use more of what it has to offer.
What?
We like what it is. We just want more of it.
We want more of this.
Yeah, it has all the charm and elegance of Americana living, but I think that it could improve in quantity as far as employment goes. It simply needs more business to create more employment opportunities. Well, then it won't be a quaint town because there'll be a lot more people living there with a lot more businesses and a lot more traffic and a lot more shit like that.
Which do you want? Hustle and bustle, or you want quiet?
You want quaint, or do you want to live where there's work? There's you can only have one or the other, really.
That's the choices.
So, population of this town. This town peaked in population in 1860, by the way. Mm-hmm. So that tells you a lot.
It's been a minute. Yeah,
it's been a minute. There's way less people here now than in 1860. So That's interesting. 1,682 people here at the moment. Okay. 53% male, which is out of whack of the usual. Older crowd here. 48.8 is the median age here.
Wow.
That is old. That's about 11 years older than the average in the rest of the country. All the demographics under 45 years old, all low. Everything underrepresented. So married population is high. It's about 62%, which is it's usually 50-50. All of that sort of thing. All the married things are high. You know, people with kids, all that kind of shit. Less single people with no children as usual. Race of this town, 95.4% white.
Wow.
So pretty goddamn white. 0.0% black. 1.2% Asian, 2% Hispanic. It's fucking white. When you drive through the town, you just see like, you know, it's white people. It's you know, there.
Is this just a bunch of white collar people that don't want to be in the city?
No, there's some artsy shit around there. As a lot of all these towns are broken up like these weird little expensive towns, kind of, you know, within a couple hours of New York or Boston. They're all broken up into where there's like a little art community, and then there's like the farm people, like blue collar people that actually do farming and do, you know, agriculture and do all the shit around that. And then you get like white collar fucks that like come up there for the weekend from Manhattan, basically. So that's kind of the breakdown of what these small towns are. And now you add weed dispensaries in there, and it's a whole other weird thing. So
now we got hippies.
Now we got hippies. 39% religious in this town, which is lower than the 50% nationally. 24% Catholic. As we know, Catholics are the Baptists of the North. So that's obvious. 0.0% Jewish, which is surprising, honestly, in this area. In Columbia County, this is a rural county, too. 57% of the people voted Democrat in the last election, 41% Republican. Unemployment rate is a little slightly under the national average, but pretty much right there. Median household income, a little bit higher. Though normally it's about $57,500. Here, $66,000.
Fascinating.
So a little bit higher, but it's expensive, so you're going to need this. Yeah. Cost of living, a lot of people in the $75,000 to $150,000 range as far as income goes. Cost of living, overall, we have, 100 is regular, even. Here it is 111 total, but housing is a 141.
There's where it is.
High. Yeah. Median home cost, $325,800 here.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah, almost 100,000 more than the national average. So that's a lot. But if we've convinced you, damn it, you're going to start a farm or some kind of art colony or maybe just some weird sexual retreat, we have for you the Hillsdale, New York Real Estate Report. All right, your average two-bedroom rental here is about $936, which if you can find that seems like the way to go because the houses are pretty expensive. And like we look just, because you pass through a town, everybody looks to see what it costs to live there and stuff. And it's kind of either like dilapidated kind of little dumps or like sprawling land with like a beautiful house on it. That's like $1 million.
Victorian,
yeah. So I found a two-bedroom, one bath. It is 1,236 square feet, so it's, decent size. Yeah. Needs some work. You're going to want to, it's not pretty. There's a lot of linoleum. It's all linoleum. You know what I mean? It's all 1981.
A bit of porcelain tile in it.
No. But $179,000 though, which half the usual, the average price of the house.
$60,000. That place is tip top.
There you go. I found a 3-bedroom, 3-bath. 2,004. It's a T-ball for every B-hole there. 2,476 square feet.
Hell yeah.
Nice wood floors, updated kitchen, and all that stuff. All move-in ready on 1 acre of land.
Okay.
Nice place. All very nice. $399,000 though.
Not bad.
So not bad compared to what it is.
For
but
an acre, that's great.
It's a nice acre too. I mean, it's not an acre of dirt. It's an acre of grass and beautiful trees and mature trees. I found a 3-bedroom, 4-bath. This is just beautiful. 3,666 square feet. Gorgeous. atop a hill, beautiful views of the mountains and hills and valley. It's idyllic. Everything is perfect. Yeah. It's just wonderful. The house is gorgeous. 14 and a half acres of land, a beautiful rolling hill. $2,390,000 for that.
Oh, boy.
You are going to pay for that idyllic lifestyle up there, boy.
No kidding.
No joke with that shit.
And it's 3-bed, 4-bath. More bowls than assholes in this house.
That's right. I like that. Yeah. That's a nice feature. I wish I had that. I wish everyone needs that. It's great. Do you have extra bathrooms?
We don't soil that one. You guys can soil.
I'm telling you, the world is a happier place. The more T-bowls for B-holes there are. Things to do in this town.
Yeah.
I found us the Falcon Ridge Folk Festival.
Wow.
Let's get it on, everybody. Yeah. A day of Falcon Ridge will feature 8 performers on 2 stages.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah. I want to find out who they are?
I sure do.
Let's do it. First off, the Falcon Ridge House Band. You got to have them, obviously. They're gonna play, I assume, little covers and stuff.
Yeah.
And, in between the other acts, maybe.
Pepper in an original here and there and see if we can insult you. Go on.
20 minutes while a singer stops throwing up from the night before for the new band. Tom Rush.
Okay.
I don't know who that is, but...
I think that's somebody that's famous, James.
I don't know. I mean, Rush is a famous band. I don't know about Tom Rush.
I don't think he was in Rush.
You might know my cousin. He's in Rush, so I just call myself Tom Rush. Vance Gilbert.
Nope. Never heard
Beats
of
me. I don't know who that is. Susan Werner.
I do. Do I know that name?
Probably not, Jimmy. I don't think.
Are these folky singers? Are these blues?
I'm sensing a pattern of shit we've never heard of here. That's basically what it is. That's what I'm sensing. Next up, the Nields, which is spelled like fields except with an N.
It's Neil with a D.
Yeah, Neil with a DS. Right. So I assume that's a family, maybe. I don't know. Family band, kids singing. Little 5-year-old with a tambourine.
Somebody with a salt shaker.
Something.
Yeah.
Crystal Shawanda is up after that. I don't know if that's a band or a person. Crystal Shawanda. The Fox Run 5 after that, which is Fox Force 5 from Pulp Fiction. And then the Slambovian Circus of Dreams will close the main stage.
I've never heard of any of those people before if that's the headliner.
That's the headliner, the Slambovian Circus of Dreams. That's not a country I'm aware of, Slambovia.
Yeah.
Oh, my grandmother told harrowing tales of her childhood in Slambovia. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. When the Markley Moos came through to take over, it was just a terrible time, she said. It was all the Slambovians ran for the hills.
Unbelievable. So that's the country that Loompa Land is in, is what that is.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize it. You know what?
Yeah, Loompa Land in the country of Slambovia.
That might so it's an Oompa Loompa band. You can come out and see those. This is a 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. festival.
My Christ!
It's like Lollapalooza. This is
11 to 10 of shit you've never seen or heard. This is going to be great.
This is wild. This wondrous community stage began as an event for the FRFF camping community. Oh, boy, here. You can get pods, I guess, because it's all no contact this year.
Yeah.
Pods of 1 to 2 people, $100. Mid-size pod up to 4 people, $200. And a family pod of up to 6 people are $300. I wonder if they close up and are clear, because that thing, I would just smoke that shit out. That'd be awesome.
Is it a tent or is it like a camping thing?
It's a pod. I don't know. I see like a clear tent that goes over you.
James, I see those little pod containers that they drop in your driveway, and you fill it up with shit, and then they come pick it up. They're
slide open a little metal window and look out. Oh shit! I think the Slambovians are on. Everybody, let's go outside. Oh man. Bring and use only your own chairs and blankets. Okay, shit, don't take any blankets. It's like the airport now. Anybody give you any chairs or blankets? No, I swear.
Have you always had this blanket in your possession?
Yeah. Where'd you get this blanket, huh? Where'd you pick it up? Free parking, no pets, no refunds. Oh, boy. Now, all ticket holders' names at the gate. You can't even give them to somebody else.
Wow.
Holy shit.
No scalping of these shits.
Wow, that is wild. Advanced ticket sales ends. Festival will endeavor to be as contact-free. Okay. Also, it says, please arrive with all those to be seated in your pod if possible. We will have a procedure for those unavailable to arrive together. We have a procedure for people like you.
You're going to wait.
That's what's like a restaurant.
Right.
Well,
like you've got
we'll seat you when your whole party gets here.
You're going to have to sit over there.
Yeah, go sit by the bar, asshole. So, crime rate in this town.
Why don't you go have a drink?
Yeah, she go spend $12 a pop on those drinks for you. That's the penalty for not showing up together. Now you got to buy a couple of overpriced drinks at a bar.
You got to pay the toll, sir.
Got to pay the troll toll.
Cross the bridge with you.
Got to pay the troll toll to get into this boy's hole, Jimmy. You know that. Danny DeVito taught us anything. So, crime rate in this town, what we're interested in, of course, what's important. Property crime is about half the normal, national average here. Yeah. So, very low. Violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is about a quarter of the national average.
Wow.
It is. There's no, I don't know how you'd have to walk so far to your neighbor's house through the rolling farm hill to stab them. It's just not worth it.
14 acres there and back. It's a distance.
It's a lot. It's a lot. You change your mind by the time you get there. There's probably a lot of murders started, and the people get halfway there, and they're like, you know what? I'm not even that upset anymore. Never
send
mind.
him a letter.
I thought about it, and, he's wrong. I'm a little wrong, too. I'm not going to lie.
I shouldn't have left without a water and a sandwich. This is a long walk.
6 of one, half dozen of the other here. So, shit. I'm going to go home. I'm getting hungry. Let's see what's going on back there.
See if the wife's got anything on the table.
There's no cell reception. That's the other thing. There's no cell reception in this town.
Really?
Except, right when you go through the town. So, all these houses you're driving by, you have no reception at all. So, I'm like, how do you live here if you can't even make a phone call?
They've got to have, Wi-Fi, and they're on Wi-Fi, right?
I suppose, or house phones, or one of those crank phones from the
Jesus.
one of those crank phones from the 1910 to I don't know how it works. They all share a line. So let's talk about a murder.
Let's do
this. Okay. Let's go back to get into this murder. We need to go back to 2006. So last week we had an older murder. This week we're going to have a newer murder. And let's catch up with a gentleman in 2006, shall we? Yeah. Let's talk about a guy named George Mancini. Mm-hmm. He is 56 years old in 2006.
Yeah.
And he is kind of a pretty by-the-book kind of a guy. He's kind of boring, you might say. He was a math teacher in Pennsylvania for 20 years.
Right.
So, I don't know if you've known a lot of math teachers, but they're not the most wild people as far as that goes. They're pretty, math is there are rules and there are things it's an absolute thing is what it is.
Black and white.
It's black and white. Yeah. There are correct answers and there are incorrect answers. Right. It's not a matter of philosophy or opinion or just that doesn't equal that. That's all. So he had some health problems which made him kind of retire, and that was he said he would have kept teaching if he didn't have some health problems that kept him from that. He has chronic back pain, and also he has a blood disorder that screws him up as well. So he's got just some illnesses that make it difficult to go to work.
Anemia or
5 days
worse?
a week. Not sure exactly what kind of blood disorder, but something that affected him enough to where it was. Kind of skewed his decision toward retirement, basically, to take an early.
He's a bleeder, and these
schools
are dangerous. People get shot in them. I don't want to bleed out.
He's a hemophiliac. He doesn't want to use that big cutter there that they have. Just remember the big cutter? You could take a person's head off with that, and they'd give that to. That was in my 3rd grade classroom, right next to the pencil sharpener for anyone to use.
Give you a guillotine to cut paper.
You could have taken a child's arm and chopped it off at the elbow with that thing. I don't know how nobody ever did because, a bunch of maniacs.
I guarantee people have lost fingers in those goddamn things.
I don't know how you wouldn't. They're brutal. They're absolutely brutal. So
you put paper in and then turn your head because shit's about to go crazy. I remember the teacher would be like, hold it with your fingertips, and then they'd cut the paper for us. They wouldn't even let us operate the goddamn thing.
Yeah, but we do it anyway. And then someone, I'm surprised it wasn't like, put your arm in there. Hey, put your arm in there. Because as a kid, you might think they wouldn't give us anything that we could actually cut an arm off with, right? I mean, we're fucking 8.
Crayola on them.
We're 9. This is I stabbed myself in the eye with those scissors. It didn't do shit last week, so this thing has to be a joke.
Right.
No way. So he was divorced for years now, almost 2 decades basically. He's been divorced. He has a daughter. He's got kids and everything like that. He's got a brother. He's got a family, and people say he's a nice guy. Basically,
sure,
seems to be a good cat. He graduated from Montclair State University in New Jersey in 1974. Taught math, that sort of shit. He played blues as well. I've had so many people in stories that play blues music. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Like,
you never know anybody that does it.
No, but in our stories,
a story about somebody that did.
Every 20 episodes, one of our people who plays blues music.
What does he play? Guitar, or what is it? Is it guitar?
I think he's a guitarist. Yeah, a guitarist. So he had a little problem in 2005. He's in a car accident.
Oh God!
And breaks his ankle in a car accident.
Fuck.
So that's brutal. Obviously,
yeah.
You bust your ankle up in a car accident. You're never, and when you're 56 too, you're not.
And you've got back problems and a blood disorder. There's already plenty of shit. I don't need another.
You're not going to be up on your feet doing great again anytime. No. It takes longer to heal. The older you get. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well.
Right.
And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So he ended up... he was living in Pennsylvania, and he just moved to Hillsdale in January of 2006 after his injury. He was planning on moving there anyway, got injured in the car accident, and still followed through on his plans to move. Right. A lot of his family thought he was going to stay, and he didn't. His sister said that she was worried about basically his isolation because it's, he's all by himself here now, and he's kind of injured. He can't drive after the accident either. Right. So, he's kind of stuck somewhere on his own with no help and no ability to get around.
Huh?
Yeah, probably, yeah. And she was also concerned because she heard, his sister heard from their parents that apparently he's been having a problem with a guy around town, a local guy. He's been there in Hillsdale, where he just moved. He's been there a month, and he's already having some issues with somebody. Okay. So, very quickly, a guy named John Hobart III is his guy he's having issues with.
Okay.
You don't mess with John Hobart III.
Sounds like a poet that writes reviews.
Yeah, no, he's not a poet at all.
No.
He's No, he's a white trash heroin addict, it seems to me, based on the information that I've seen. And his cousin as well has been in the mix because he hangs out around there. So he's been having problems with John Hobart III and his cousin, William Demagall, who is 22 years old. And William is a machinist, and he's an interesting guy. We'll talk about him for a moment here. Because you look at this and you got Mancini here who, I mean, like I said, he's injured. His life is pretty plain, basically. Sure. Gets divorced, has a kid, gets divorced. His daughter says he always saw his kid, didn't run away and do anything crazy, didn't follow the Grateful Dead or anything like that in the early 80s or something. He did his thing, did his math teaching, not feeling well, retires, moves to this place, and now he's like kind of stuck here and after injured ankle, and he's arguing with some local dipshits.
Hillbilly heroin addict and his fucking machinist cousin.
And his machinist cousin, who are from this area.
A couple of guys with black shit on their face every day. Somehow it just migrates around their face.
And they didn't even do anything. That's the other thing. That's on their day off, and you're like, what are you doing? It's just from being around their house. Yeah. Just because they have dirty pillowcases.
Right.
That's all. So
hashtag woke up like this.
Yeah, look at this. Woke up cold dusted. Looks like a work in a mine.
Yeah.
So he is from Pittsfield, which is funny because that's the other place you go for weed if you want to go like 40 minutes further.
Yeah.
Pittsfield is there, and they have a bunch of dispensaries as well. So
terrific.
It's that's how these Massachusetts towns are broken down now. Do they have dispensaries there or not? If not, we'll be avoiding them. If so, I might come there and buy some other stuff too.
See it when one opens.
You never know. So he's born in Pittsfield but lived in Worthington, and then finally his family settles in Stockbridge.
Yeah.
And
this
he
is Hobart,
was
or Hobarth?
This is William Demagall, our machinist friend here, and he ends up living in New Marlborough as he's around this time when he's 21, 22. His grandmother and his mother have been trying to help him for a long time.
Perfect.
He's a guy who basically needs medication, doesn't like taking medication. He's a guy like that. So
like mental health medication?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, and doesn't like taking it.
Yeah.
And
I can relate, but look, man.
Yeah, this is more serious.
If your life is affected
too.
and you're not by not taking it, fucking take it. If not just your life, other people's lives.
Yeah.
If their lives are affected because of you and your medication refusal, just take the shit.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we're not trying to tell people, medicate yourselves. No. That's not what it is. But, I mean, Jimmie's how long have you been in therapy for? Decades now?
Way too long. And
so, I mean, this is not coming from a place of, fuck you, control yourself. This is coming from a place of, hey, if you want to have a life and you need medication, if you had cancer, you wouldn't just go, well, I mean, I'm fine.
Self-awareness is everything in it. You got to know what medication is doing to you, and not necessarily what it's doing to you, but what you're doing because of you got to be able to gauge the behavior versus the medication. And if it's affecting other people's lives, you better figure that shit the fuck out, because that's a problem. That's a big problem.
It is. It's a goddamn issue. And it starts around 20 years old. So just recently this started. He has manic episodes, basically. And his dad is bipolar, and his dad, talks about it openly too, that he had problems with this, and he might have had the symptoms earlier, but they started to manifest and show to everybody around this time here. They would start to come more and more often. He would have certain delusions. With treatment and medication, he's absolutely fine.
Right.
Absolutely fine. No issues, no incidents.
Yeah.
Functions perfectly. He's not like a zombie. He's himself. He's just all the shit I'm going to tell you about goes away, basically, when he just takes his medication.
He's fine-tuned.
He's fine. Yeah, it's exactly right. One time he quits his job and starts becoming a little more just out on his own. Mm-hmm. He, at certain times, he'll just go live in caves for a while.
Go on.
He's got a house now.
Yeah.
He's got a place to live. He'll just disappear, and he's living in caves.
Off his meds in a cave.
in a cave, and he'll drink too, which is his dad said that was his trigger. He realized that he couldn't drink; it would really, his illness would be terrible from drinking because it'll more chemical imbalance than
right. That's exactly it. The chemical imbalance is even more so when you sprinkle alcohol on it.
That's an issue. He started saying that he was no longer of this world.
Yeah.
And would routinely quote the Bible while saying he was the son of Christ, by the way.
But that's of this world.
Because I'm no longer of this world. I'm Jesus' son. Let me tell you a psalm. And then he would...
Well, which is it? Go back to your cave.
And then he would duck back in his cave. And he began, and this is where, that's all, you feel bad for the guy if he's got a mental illness and he's doing this. But at a certain point, he starts carrying a sword with him.
Nope.
And claiming, okay, this is Pocket Robin level here. He is claiming to be King Arthur.
Yes.
He carries a sword around, claiming to be King.
Hell yeah.
Claiming to be King Arthur, and he is in search of the Holy Grail.
Fuck yes.
So these are his...
You hate to laugh at mental illness. That's what this is. It's fucking... And nobody's
crazy.
Stopping this?
This is
going on?
This is wild stuff right here. I mean, this is just...
when you're dead serious and say shit like that, you need a hospital and a doctor yesterday.
You need something. And his family realizes that, and his parents bring him to the secure psychiatric unit of Berkshire Medical Center in July 2003.
Wow.
So he stayed there very briefly, and then after his stay, he deteriorated worse, leading up to more hospitalization after that, this time only for a couple of days in June of 2004. And then in July of 2004, he goes back in again, and this lasts more than 2 weeks. There, he got put in this time because he threatened his mother when she showed concern for him. He threatened her harm, and said nobody was going to keep him from his freedom.
Okay,
that's what he said. So they said, "Great, let's go take you here. We are going to have a chat with you, sir."
Yeah.
So you can't do that. Obviously, that's when you're threatening people physically, especially your mother, who is obviously concerned about you and not an evil person who's sent here from a foreign planet to get inside your brain or any of that shit. Like, it's one thing to think other people that you don't know and be paranoid or whatever, but when you start thinking your mother is out to harm you, then you probably you need help at that point. So before he gets out from his third hospitalization, after he gets out after his third hospitalization, he starts having more issues. He comes back with the King Arthur thing.
Yeah.
He starts carrying a sword around. He claims to be alternately Jesus and the son of Jesus.
Okay.
I don't know. He's unsure, or if there's
my own father.
We need to get him a DNA test, or if he thinks Jesus is just from West Virginia. I'm not sure. Either way, he believes he's Jesus. He also believes he's Merlin, and we'll get into that in a moment because he's so sure of that, he does something very interesting to show you how positive he is. He's Merlin.
Fucking wizard?
The wizard, yes, the wizard. He's both King Arthur.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be different people, King Arthur, a wizard, and Jesus are three. That's not a bad trio, to meld together and be that person. Oh, and one other thing. He thinks he is, quote, I don't know what this is, quote, the Bear King.
Oh.
I don't know what that is.
Well,
the Bear King. The King of Bears. B-E-A-R.
It's coming up on Netflix. Hang on.
The Bear King.
Yeah.
Imagine, dude, this is... I feel for the parents here who are trying to help their kid, because imagine your son, you have a son, I have a son, imagine he comes home one day with a sword and pronounces he's the Bear King. You're going to be like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, it's not something, you're going to feel for your kid. That's not good. Obviously, there's a problem if he believes he is Merlin the Bear King.
Right.
That's a problem. So
a good stern talk with Uncle Baloo to tell you you are not indeed a bear.
We are going to take you in. This is ridiculous. Smokey is going to hear about. Uncle Smokey's going to find out about this. I have had it. He's going to come over here with his hat and no pants, and he's going to show you what to do.
You're going to get Winnie, Baloo.
There's all
Smokey,
of them. I know.
Everybody's coming through.
I know a lot of bears. Call the Berensteins. Call them. I want the whole family over here. He needs to see there's babies involved. No, bring them.
Paddington's going to give you a spanking.
And then finally the closer of the night.
Yeah.
The Slovabian or whatever the fuck it is, closer of the night. Slambovian closer of the evening. Teddy Ruxpin with a Wu-Tang Clan tape jammed into his back. I believe that's the final word.
I came to bring the faith.
Yeah. That's Method Man, but yes.
He's part of them, but whatever.
I did that.
I
did that to my poor little brother. He had Teddy Ruxpin, and I just liked watching him move so fast. It was hilarious.
I would
protect
love
your
to
neck,
see,
son.
I would love to
protect your neck, Daddy. Sorry.
I would love to see Teddy Ruxpin rocking Busta Rhymes or somebody, just a speed rapper. Like
to see him go.
The speed knots.
Just woo-ha. See like Bone Thugs coming from fucking Teddy Ruxpin. And then fast mumbling for fucking 15 minutes, it seems like, at a time.
So good.
Yeah. So he starts at this point. Your appearance is going to change, obviously, when you're Merlin the Jesus Bear King.
Hair's going to grow long. Yeah.
And you're looking for the Holy Grail. So I don't know what kind of changes you need to make that a better thing. For him, he takes this as we starts wearing all black. As his deal. He fasts for 40 days.
Yeah.
At one point. So doesn't eat for 40 days, he claims. Don't know if this is true or not, but he claims he didn't eat for 40 days. That's, you got to be, I don't know what you're eating, protein shakes or something you have to be taking. Otherwise, you're probably going to die in 40 days of no food.
If you don't eat, 40 days is too long, I think.
I think you'll die. I think you
10
go
days
about a
is
month.
About it, right?
I think you can go a month probably if you're a little chunky, eating off of your own fat probably. But...
Yeah. You'll lose weight.
You're going to be very thin afterwards, but not healthy at all. No. He also stopped sleeping for a while.
Oh boy.
Didn't sleep, which is indicative of a manic state of epic proportions of if you're not sleeping at all. And then he also returned to his cave in the woods where he would live for a while. He began again becoming preoccupied with the Bible and Arthurian legends, King Arthur stuff, and then began talking frequently about the world ending as well. Became a survivalist, apocalyptic type of person.
Early
as well.
adopter of it. I feel you, bud.
Today,
he's
got a lot going on.
Very common.
Oh, one more thing. He tattooed his own forehead. Let's talk about that. Oh boy. He tattooed his own forehead using a little mirror so he could see, some India ink, and a hunting knife.
What does it say backward?
It's not a word. It is a tattoo of a small figure with horns.
Oh boy.
He drew. He said it was he said it was, quote, Merlin's marking.
Yikes.
So that's how you know he's Merlin, because he carved a little guy with horns on his forehead.
I didn't know Merlin had a tattoo at all.
No. Yeah, I didn't realize that either. But apparently he's going to mark you if you're the new Merlin. There you go. Now, also, this is all stuff that came out later, so keep this in mind and hang in there and just hear us out, okay, on all of this stuff. Now, William's father, Stephen, he said he knew the signs of the mania because he had them himself. He said he'd been treated at the Berkshire Medical Center as well several times for his bipolar disorder. He said that he learned over time that his mania is triggered by alcohol, which he figured out from 5 convictions for drunk driving. So,
good lesson, sir.
Good lesson. Whether it's triggering your mania or not, still stop drinking. Right. You're not doing well. So later on, his father will say he's been psychotic for a number of months. He is bipolar, which I am too. He's in a very manic phase and dangerous to himself and others. He knows weapons and has had them all his life: knives, guns, crossbows, and is a survivalist in the woods. So,
oh boy,
that's what's going on here. So, November of 2005, so before, Stephen Demagal, William's father, said that he had to contact state police and told them of weapons that his son had stockpiled in caves.
Mm-hmm.
So he's stockpiling weapons in caves.
Yeah.
Caves.
Like New York, Waco.
At the Monument Mountain in Stockbridge. He said that the arsenal included black powder guns, crossbows, and hunting knives.
Black powder guns,
like Civil War era guns. That's a black powder. I don't know if he's going to shoot a musket ball at somebody or what, but those aren't generally...
It's got like pirate guns.
But also black powder is very unstable as well, so if you have it and it hasn't been stored properly or it's old, it becomes a problem at that point, so it's got to be stored well. His father also said, quote, he was a very avid hunter, a bow hunter. He's one of the best shots you will ever see around.
Really?
So the police went cleaned out the cave, they said, but they didn't find anything that they were talking about there. Yeah. So, yeah. Now, back to Demagal and Hobart bothering George Mancini, our retired teacher here. Now, Hobart is apparently allegedly a heroin addict, and he would drive Mancini around for a couple of bucks to do errands because he can't drive. Right. So basically, Mancini's introduced to Hobart through a relative of his that he barely knew the guy, but whatever. And Mancini offered him, hey, I'll pay you a few bucks if you'll drive me around. It's cheaper than Uber or whatever, a cab. So you drive me around, and this guy's a junkie, so he'll take a few bucks and be happy with it. So he does that, drives him around. This is in like late January 2006. This is going on. Apparently, he at one point during this, now he just had this terrible accident, Mancini, and he's got this ankle injury. So one thing, if you're 56 years old and you have a bad ankle injury, they are going to give you drugs.
You betcha.
Good drugs too, like drugs that work.
Prior to that whole pillbilly shit that was happening in Florida,
exactly.
They're throwing them at you, handfuls,
whatever you want. Well, he has Dilaudid.
Oh,
which
what?
Dilaudid is, if you've ever seen Drugstore Cowboy with Matt Dillon and Kelly Lynch, it's a great fucking movie. But the plot is this group of junkies go around to drugstores, and they have Heather Graham there, who is 18 at the time of this movie. It's made in like 92 or something. Sure. They have her looking all innocent, fake an epileptic seizure in a pharmacy. So everybody swarms to this young, looking girl who's having an epileptic seizure. While that's going on, Matt Dillon and the other dude hop over the counter and steal drugs and just take whatever they can and bounce, and then they get home and see what the fuck they got, basically, and they start divvying it up, and they sell the shit they don't want to get the shit they do want, whatever.
Wow.
But their holy grail was Dilaudid. When they got some Dilaudid, they were like, oh, there it is, we got it.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
when I had my appendix out, they gave that to me and warned me that I was only going to get a little bit because it's super addictive. But as soon as it hit my vein, I was like, "Oh boy, this is magic."
This is what they give you if you have like horrifically terminal bone cancer.
Yeah.
They give you this.
If you are in unbelievable pain, this will make you feel none of it.
I suppose if you shatter an ankle and have a blood disorder, maybe that's part of it. So. Apparently, Hobart went with William Demagal to Mancini's apartment and knocked on the door, and Mancini opened the door for him. He knows him, and they wanted some Dilaudid. So at this point, they apparently begged him for some Dilaudid. Please, we really want some. Yeah, they didn't have any money, and Mancini said, no, not giving you my fucking Dilaudid. This is my prescription. You're not getting it. And they wouldn't give it to him. So, that was it. So about a week later, Mancini's apartment is robbed. And oddly, they got all of his drugs. It's very weird. Got all of his pills.
But somebody tried the porridge and laid in the beds.
Yeah, they're like, just right. So this is fucking wild. So he is now, Mancini's calling around to people he knows, asking for advice of how to deal with these people because he feels like, pretty sure who robbed me.
Right.
it's these two guys. I can't prove it, but, they're bothering me now and got kind of a beef with them, and I don't know what's going on.
Sometimes there's no coincidences, officer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they don't know. Mancini was talking about possibly going to the police, but he said, I don't really have anything to concrete, so I don't know what to do, essentially. Mm-hmm. Now, while he's worrying about this, Demagol's having his own issues. February 3rd, he is taken to the back to the hospital, which is a locked psychiatric unit, after his grandmother tells authorities that he visited her. He was not allowed to visit her. He had restraining orders because he had threatened her life. He's broken into her house. He's pretty much all of his relatives, not all of them, but a couple of his relatives, he's broken into their houses, stole their shit. He's got a drug problem, it seems like. That's all there is to it. So he's mentally ill and has a drug problem, and he's breaking into people's houses, threatening people physically. He's completely out of control, essentially. Like, something needs to be done here. Previously, there was a complaint known as a Section 12, which had been issued because someone that's issued when someone determines that he's a threat to himself or others. That's what that's called there. And a 50. Exactly. That's what it is here. He said that he repeated that he would, quote, hurt anyone who tried to keep him from his freedom. So that's what he said. So obviously they kept putting him back in the institutions here.
Yeah.
And then finally on February 9th, 2006, this is about 5:55 p.m., he's in an outdoor courtyard of the facility because you can go out and get some air and stuff.
Sure.
And you know those wrought iron gates like they have at schools in Arizona around them that are just like an 8-foot tall, 10-foot tall fence with the maybe 4-inch apart wrought iron bars, and that's the thing. That's what they have there on the outside. Yeah. He slips through the bars.
Wow, how fucking skinny is this guy?
Apparently, he's been fasting, and he's been a fasting cave-dwelling heroin addict is going to be a pretty thin guy. Whip it thin, I would think. He's going to be able to squeeze.
What is that? Whip it thin?
Yeah,
what is
thin dog?
Like a dog?
Yeah, they're real thin.
I've never heard that, but that's funny. Is that a thing, or did you just say it?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Have you ever heard it before?
Maybe. I'm not positive. I think so. Yeah, that's a saying, isn't it? I don't know now.
As soon as you said whip it, I was like, the dog, and then you said thin. I was like, and they are thin. That is...
Yeah, I think I've heard it before, maybe. I don't think I made that up.
I've never heard it, but it's funny.
It seems like something that might be something I heard when I was like 7 and stored till now, and it just came out, and it knew to come out right now. I don't know how.
It sure does paint. It's a Picasso is what that is. That paints a picture right away.
Especially
even for a dummy like me. Yeah, I can see a whippet going through that fence.
That's him. Picture that whippet with a guy with horns on it tattooed on his forehead with a knife and some ink. That's what we got going on here.
Dragging a sword.
Dragging a sword behind him, talking about the Grail is eastward. So he slips out of the Berkshire Medical Center, 5:55. Within 5 minutes, the hospital staff notices that he's gone.
Hey, where's that weirdo?
Hey, where's that guy? Yeah, he's noticeable. You notice when he's not around. He doesn't blend in. So within 5 minutes, the hospital staff notifies the police, and a dispatcher calls out a radio call to officers that tell him to be on the lookout for him, saying he just left the psychiatric ward, yada, 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 basically. Goes out there. Yeah, he's out there. We'll take a look out. February 9th at 6:18 p.m. Now we're going to break down into times. The staff from the hospital calls police to ask for its fax number. Then they call again to provide more details on William Demagol and to say that he might have a connection to other Berkshire towns. Maybe you look for him there in the Berkshire area. And the dispatcher tells the hospital to call the police department in those towns. They literally says, well, that ain't my problem. What I would do is I would look up the number to those police departments and call them, because I ain't fucking doing it.
Here's the thing. I'm in public health. You're in public safety. You fucking call. Why? Well, I'm calling you to tell you to do that.
You would imagine there's some sort of alert they could probably send out to the police departments in the area. You know what I mean? I'm sure they all have a community, not a message board, but
there should be talk to each other.
Email. Just send out a group email. Hey, everybody, look for this guy. Something, right? I don't know. What the fuck? I don't give a shit.
Somebody.
Send one of those fucking Evites or whatever where they bother you every 3 days to see if you're going to come or not. Send one of those from 2006. I'm trying to think in 2006, what are your options? One of those annoying things. Right? Sure, why not? Yeah, you could text more than one person in 2006. Yeah, you had cameras on your phone by then. There was Blackberries popping off. So, Jesus Christ. They said, why don't you go ahead and call those towns? So they, at that point, the hospital faxes the Pittsfield police, which was the ones who said, you go ahead and call the other towns. Yeah. They send the Section 12 complaint, which allows officers to hold him if they find him. Because that's what they were lacking. Otherwise, it's just like, okay, what do you want from us? They need the formal complaint that says, it's like having a warrant. I can hold you because you are escaped from a psychiatric facility where you need to be. So the police then had the authority to take him there after that. So 7:32 p.m., the hospital security calls police to say that Demagol is a, quote, survivalist who may be headed toward the woods. Oh. I don't know if the dispatcher said, I don't know, call the woods and tell him. What are you fucking telling me for?
Call the holler.
Call Yogi Bear and tell him. He's one that we didn't really talk about.
Who was his little friend? Who was
Boo Boo.
Boo Boo, that's right. I love that. It was good.
You can't say it normal. He said Boo Boo. So you might be headed toward the woods. And then February 9th, 7:39 p.m., a few minutes later, they just keep getting calls from the hospital. Yeah. A doctor now calls the police to tell them that Demagol is, quote, very dangerous, including saying, quote, I just want you to understand the severity of this. That's what he tells them. Here is transcripts from this phone call here. They said, here's the dispatcher. Okay, and they say, quote, the name, talking about, I'm this doctor over at the hospital. I've got to tell you about a patient who we had up here who escaped from a secure courtyard. Cop says, okay. His name is William Demagol, spells name. They said, quote, hang on a second, okay? Sure. This is, they take another call and then come back.
What?
Yep, takes call. This is on the official transcript. Takes call, returns. That's the official police transcript from their
911,
side.
Can you please hold? Is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. What do you say? There's a murderer on the loose? Yeah, potential dangerous person. Wait a second. I got a guy on the.
This is important, lady.
I'm gonna have to get back to you. I got a guy on the other line about some white walls. He gave like the Lou Brown from Major League deal there. So he says, all right, William Demagol. And the doctor says, yes, he's 22-year-old guy. And the cop says, white male. And they say, yeah, white male. It's Pittsfield and, this area. Does anything else exist? Yes. White male. He's about 5'5", maybe 130 pounds. That's how he squeezed through the bars. Can you please hold? Hold on a second. Wait, God damn it. No, my wife's calling. Hold on. I got to pick the kids up later. Wait a second. I got to take this.
Okay, white male, 24. No, 25. Go on. I'm listening.
So, short, light hair. He's probably wearing several hooded kind of jackets and sweatshirts and jackets. Okay. Why he gets, I guess, so he stays warm.
It's cold out.
It's February. Yeah. It's cold up in this area. And one time we were driving there, and it was like raining and not that cold. And we hit this area, and it started snowing like a bastard. Really? Like, holy shit. Yeah. When did that happen? So they said, okay. The doctor then says he's with us. He's been up here because he's kind of dangerous to himself and others also as well. Wow. He has just suggested certain things, so I just wanted to notify you. So the police say, so he's out on foot somewhere in the area there? And then the doctor says, yes, he was last seen about 7 minutes ago. He was going toward the front of the hospital, if you know where the courtyard is within the hospital. And cop says, okay, I'm going to tell our guys. Thank you very much. End of call. 6:18.
I got to go.
I got to go now. See you later. 6:18 p.m., this doctor calls back. And he says, hi again. This is me again. How's it going? Yeah. Pretty good. How are you? Not bad. Just hanging. Right. Small talk. Can you hold a second? Wait a second. Got a lot going on here. Wait 1 second. No, hold on. Our pizza's here. I got to put you on hold. I got to sign for this. He said, I just called you a bit ago about the person who ran away from this section of the hospital. I've got a Section 12 here, which the doc here has issued for him. I'd like to fax it over to you. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Calls back again. Hi, this is that young man I was telling you about that we were looking for at this point. Hold on a second here. I got a guy on the other line. Fuck. He says he has connections up in Adams and Stockbridge, and I was wondering, is it something we should connect with the police departments up there if he goes there, or is that something that you guys do to work through this? And that's when the cop says, no, that's something you're going to have to do if you want to send them Section 12s as well in case they run across him. He says, okay.
That better not be fucking policy today.
I would hope not. I would hope you can just take it in and then just be the central clearinghouse.
Yeah, that sounds like a police officer being like, don't tell me how to do my job, sir.
Yeah, listen, I'm handling this, all right, asshole. So he says at this point, hey, this is Jeff at security. Calls back again. You got that call about that guy, that kid. I don't know if they told you. When he took off, he was headed up towards Springside Park that way. So I don't know if you were told that or not. I just wanted to give you a little heads up. He might have went that way toward the woods.
Okay.
If they could have got all their information together at once and called all at once rather than a doctor, then a security guy.
Yeah.
Throwing out little tidbits here and there. That doesn't seem very,
everybody being put on hold.
Yeah, this is not efficient at all. So he says, again, because I don't know if they told you, this guy's a survivalist. He lives in a cave in the woods West Stockbridge or Stockbridge. And the cop says, oh, probably like, oh, what a crazy fuck. Okay.
Yeah. Great. Out of town.
Wonderful. He says, and so he'll probably be headed toward the woods if he can find any. And they said, okay, well, I have to give it all to my guys to look for him. All right, fine. So they call back again. Hi, may I speak with the sergeant this time?
Uh-huh.
Oh, boy, hold on. They get the Sergeant Fitzgerald. This is Dr. Levine now calling. Oh, now we got a doctor talking to the sergeant. We're going above people's heads. The cop says, how you doing? No. Okay? We don't need small talk. Well, how's the wife and kids? Don't fucking care.
Fitzgerald here. Go on.
Yeah, go on. What's your problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your emergency or whatever the fuck you want to say. Hold on a minute. Shit. Now he put me on hold. So he said, good. I'm good, first of all.
Terrific.
He says, good. I just wanted to make sure it was clear that this person, William Demagall, is quite dangerous. Sergeant says, William who?
Oh, no.
This hasn't been getting around.
He's heard nothing.
Nothing.
The cave survivalist with the machete, that guy.
Who thinks he's the Bear King and Jesus and King Arthur and carries a sword and a crossbow. That guy you might want to keep an eye out for.
Riveting story. Tell me more.
So he says, Demagall. And he says, oh, okay. He escaped from the highest level of care, the psychiatric intensive care unit, and I'm very, very concerned about his safety and the safety of others. I don't know how much of the story you've gotten, but he's a survivalist. He lives in the woods in Stockbridge, in 2 caves.
Yeah.
2 caves. He has a lot of guns and knives that are in his possession. He has a lot of guns and knives that are in possession of the police department down there. When they cleared the cave, they found a couple things. The police department in Stockbridge is very familiar with this guy. Okay, that's the answer. Okay,
cool.
The doctor says he is very dangerous. He's almost like waiting for the sergeant to go like, oh, we'll keep an eye out then or something. Like, I'm worried.
He's looking for the right response and not getting it at all right now.
That's what it is. He says he's very dangerous. We're filing in court to keep him committed in the hospital. One of the suggestions of a security guard who knows him is that he was headed toward Springside Park because that's where he would be most comfortable to go. He was heading in that direction. So the cop goes, so you think he might be going over there?
Yeah.
No, I just said that because I'm fucking bored. How's your family? Oh, you got to put me on hold? Great, perfect.
I'm not sure where he's going because I'm a doctor, not a cop. I'm just giving you the information so you can go do some cop shit and save people from getting knifed up.
So you think he might be going over there? Hold, please. Son of a bitch. So the doctor says, very possibly, but I just want you to understand the severity of this and how dangerous he is. How many times have they said this?
Yeah.
He's making it very clear that you need...
it's a bad man.
If a tiger escaped from the zoo, whatever you would do for that, this is what I need you to try to do right now because he's that dangerous. He says, I just want you to understand the severity of this and how dangerous he is, and that we have a Section 12 that's been faxed over so he can be brought back in. And he says, okay. And they said, all right. And the cop goes, yep.
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 Oh, God, I hate that word.
Gives him a yep. And then he says, then you call the nurses station, and he gives him the number, if you could let us know how the search is going. So they basically, here's our number, let us go. And he says, quote, if we come up with them, I'll ring it up. Just real cash about the whole thing.
Oh, boy.
Real casual about a person whose doctor's saying he's the severity of the danger that he poses. He's like, yep.
That's a sergeant that's not familiar with mental illness, I have a feeling.
Not on this level. Well, and also, the drugs are also an issue here that I think, and we're going to get into this, of what exactly his motivations are for anything he's doing right now. But anyway, his father also calls, William's father, Stephen. He said he made numerous attempts to alert the Pittsfield police to his son's condition. He kept, he called. He said he called and gave the Pittsfield police the name of a man he suspected who his son would go for a ride.
Yeah.
He told the officers his son would likely meet up with his cousin, John Hobart. And he said the police told him to contact that town himself. Well, contact the town where his cousin lives then, because that's not us.
Oh boy,
that's amazing,
unbelievable.
That's pretty fucking amazing, honestly.
It's a level of cavalier that is not. That's too far.
That's a little not our problem. Not my job. That's not my job-ism taken to the. And I'm sure that there's policies or whatever that prevent people from doing this. So it's probably, I'm not saying it's an individual person's fault. It might be an issue of what rules have been set forth and what exact, things you're supposed to do here, what protocol is supposed to. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. Yeah. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmie had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. Yeah. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover.
Yeah.
Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing.
No.
They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
To happen. So 9:24 p.m. now. A couple hours have gone by. A 2-page report is sent from the hospital to the police department, all of them countywide, describing Demagol as a dangerous person, warning that he stockpiled knives and guns in the woods, and listing several places where he might have gone, including caves and his father's former apartment in Pittsfield or maybe even Vermont.
Okay.
So then they also, not only do they fax it, a security officer from the medical center hand delivers a copy of the report as well, just in case they didn't get it. Demagol's father called the next morning and asked them to send an officer to his former apartment to see if maybe his son is hiding there. The police show up. He's not there. So where the fuck is William?
I'd love to know.
Well, he left the facility and went and stayed in a cave near Stockbridge for the night.
Yeah.
Yes, he's got his caves where he goes, and no one's going to find people if someone knows the caves and they don't want to be found, you're not going to find them at night. You're just not in the caves, because he escaped. 5:55 is dark in February. This is into the night. You're never going to find this guy. So February, he does that. Then he goes in the morning to his cousin's house, John Hobart. Okay. Goes there. He doesn't knock on the door, though. He crawls into a car and sleeps there until morning. So he leaves the cave early morning, and then gets in the car until 8, 9, a reasonable time where you can go knock on nice people's doors. You can't be knocking on people's doors at 5 a.m.
Like the Trailer Park Boys sleeping in a car.
Yeah. So in the morning, he asks his cousin if he could please have a ride out of state, because he doesn't want to go back to the facility, basically. Okay. So can you drive me out of state? And then he also says, but before we do that, we should rob George Mancini and take his morphine and Dilaudid. That's what we should do first.
Yeah.
Let's make a stop on the way out of state to rob this guy of all of his all of his heroin fucking offshoot drugs here. Right. That's what we're looking for. Yeah. So that's the plan.
Okay.
8:58 a.m. on February 11th now. So the next day.
Yeah.
February 11th, 8:58 a.m., firefighters respond to a report of a fire in an apartment building.
Okay.
They show up and determine pretty quickly that the fire is arson.
Right.
It is emanating from George Mancini's apartment.
Oh, no.
And when they get inside, they find a pretty fucked up scene that we'll talk about in a second here. So that afternoon, though, not knowing of any of this, William Demagol's father files an official missing persons report at 3:09 p.m., and Demagol's entered into the national database of missing persons.
Yeah.
So that way, he's been looking now. Everybody's looking for him. So what the fuck happened? Okay, well, let's talk about it. Apparently Hobart drives Demagol over to Mancini's house.
Yeah.
And Hobart doesn't know exactly how to rob him or what to do there. So Demagol says, tell you what, I got this. Don't you even sweat it, okay? So apparently he knocked on the door, and this is early in the morning. We're talking, 8 o'clock in the morning. It's not, 1 in the afternoon or anything. Knocks on the door. George Mancini lets him in. They have a conversation where I assume he is trying to figure out a way to get the drugs from him.
Yeah.
After apparently George refuses, doesn't want to give him anything. So what William does is he pulls out a pocket knife that he has and begins to repeatedly stab him in the chest.
Oh, my.
Over 30 times. William will have his own estimate of an exact number of stab wounds.
How big a knife is this pocket knife? Is it like a Swiss Army knife, or is it like
it's not like a nail clipper knife. It's a pocket knife, probably a 3-inch blade,
4-inch blade, yeah,
something that's legal to have in your pocket. One of those type of knives. Yeah, exactly. Stabs him tons of times in the chest, all sorts of times. He then looks him in the eyes. He said that he's begging for his life at this point, George. William looks him in the eyes, from what he says, in order to, quote, see his soul as he dies.
Yikes.
That's what he wants to do. He wants to see his soul. And then he told him that he was already dead, which, the guy was like, well, I'd probably like to be at this point. You've stabbed me 30 times, but I'm not. But he's not dead, George Mancini. He's just pleading for his life. So what he does is he puts his pocket knife away, and he takes something else out that he had in his pocket. Pre-prepared, by the way. Yeah. He didn't just put this together. He had a paperweight inside of a sock in his pocket.
My God!
Which is a brutal weapon,
Full Metal Jacket style? Jeez.
Yeah, but with a paperweight. Yeah. At least soap. If you drop soap, it breaks, it dents. You know what I mean? If you fucking... A paperweight's a goddamn rock most of the time. So, or a piece of something heavy, plastic or metal or some shit.
With like a Dove bar on it, probably move it.
Yeah, an ivory isn't holding that down.
Paper down.
A lot of it. So he takes the paperweights, and it's a glass paperweight, and a glass paperweight, solid glass is very heavy to make a paperweight. It's in the toe of the sock, obviously, holds it and begins to beat him. Begins to beat George Mancini's head as he begged for his life. He said that he beat him until he could, Jesus fucking Christ, wow, until he could, quote, see his brain coming out of his ear.
Oh, no.
That's a lot of beating. That's absolutely horrific. After this, he took his knife and his paperweight, and he soaked the weapons in the sink for a while.
Yeah.
Just put them in a nice, filled the sink up, let them soak for a minute, as you do. You don't want to. It's like when you're baking with something. You got to soak it, or else you're going to scrub forever.
When it gets caked on, forget it.
Forget about it.
May as well throw that pan away.
Yeah, so what do you do while your stuff is soaking? This isn't his house. He doesn't have much to do, so he goes shopping around the house for stuff he'd like to steal and take with him, including the guy's sleep apnea machine, I assume, because you can sell that.
Yeah.
Those are worth money. A box of harmonicas. What are you going to sell them for? $1. I got harmonicas, $2. Wow.
What's a harmonica worth? $12?
I guess a box of them.
I'm sure a really nice one is expensive, but I don't know what makes a really nice one.
They probably don't come by the box, a really nice one. They probably are sold individually, I would assume. This usually, is probably like
I bet the good ones are like engraved, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're real nice.
That's the only good part about them, right.
A box is like probably some throwaways. You keep one in your car, you keep one over here. If you drop one and you let it go.
Plastic ones you get out of a piñata.
Yeah, all sorts of piñata harmonicas. Right. You know how that is. A piñata harmonica. Also takes his car keys, a check, some clothes, that sort of stuff. And about $270 in cash that he found in the guy's room. So he really tossed his fucking place looking for what he thought was valuable. Okay. Now, his idea is, once his weapons are all soaked, he collects that, and he's like, okay, what I'd like to do is get Mancini and pull him into a closet and stuff him in there for a while, and just stuff him in the closet and then leave, and then no one will find him for a few days, and it'll be great. He tries to do that, and he's a little guy, first of all. He's not a big guy. Mm. And second of all, he's got an injured collarbone, apparently, and it's hurting, so he can't pull George Mancini into the closet.
He got one?
Demagol has an injured shoulder, and he can't pull Mancini into the closet. So he's like, fuck. Now, this whole time,
he dislocated it getting out of that tiny-ass fence.
I was thinking about that. Yeah. That's possible. Now, but at the same time, Hobart is in the car the whole time.
Wow.
He's hanging out, waiting outside, thinking like, oh, maybe he's getting drugs. So anyway, he instead says, okay, fuck, well, I can't move him. He's in the middle of the goddamn living room. What do I do here? here's what I'll do. I'll get anything that's flammable in the house. So he gets paper, styrofoam, anything that will light on fire, and piles it on top of George Mancini.
Wow.
Basically just makes a big Viking fucking funeral fire on top of this guy and lights it up. Lights it on fire with it, George Mancini. And then he barricades the back door so nobody can get in and locks the front door and leaves.
Okay.
So it's extra hard for the firefighters to get in when it's called in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's locking the fire in there. It needs oxygen. Science is lost on him, but go on.
I think he's beyond science, and there's probably enough oxygen at least, and it's on fire. I mean, it's pretty well on fire.
But also, you got to put Hawaiians will natives will bury a pig underground for 8 hours while it's on fire.
Yeah.
This is not
Middle Eastern. There's a lot of cooking like that.
And then you pull the pig out, and it's still whole. This is not going to get rid of this body.
No, it's going to burn it.
It'll make it gross, but it's not going to. All the Amazon packaging on the planet is not going to incinerate a body.
No, and I don't know. And we've seen, how many times have we seen people try to burn bodies on this show they gave it real tries. They put it in an oil drum and put gasoline all over it, or they had accelerants, they had all this shit, and it still doesn't burn up, and you still can't. It's really hard.
One guy put a lady in a fire for what police called several hours at high temperatures, and she was still there.
It's just hard to do. It's hard to burn a fucking body. It's not an easy thing. If that's what you think is your plan, that's not a good plan. So it's really not a good plan. And this is I don't know. This is okay. If your idea was I want to drag him in the closet, that's so nobody finds him for a few days, so you have a little escape.
Right.
If you left him in the middle of the living room, at least it gives you some time. No one's going to come in, in the next 10 minutes probably. Maybe one of his relatives 2 days from now or something. If you set him on fire,
police will get there fast.
They'll get there in an apartment, especially. Right. Someone else, people are attached to that place.
Right.
There's going to be...
When you said apartment fire, I was like, that is dangerous as shit. There's people.
Oh, yeah, you could kill everybody at that point. And it's the morning, too. It's like 8 a.m. There could be people sleeping. Who the fuck knows what's going on? So, but... He takes off and leaves it there, and I guess he thought that was going to be an advantageous thing for him. Mm-hmm. He then leaves that apartment and walks to the place where his cousin Hobart is going to pick him up.
Right.
He's got a prearranged meeting spot there. Now, after that, he says, can you drop me off? I'm not going to stay with Hobart. Can you drop me off at the motel in the town of Shodak? So that's where he ends up going, to a motel, because he has $270 now.
Right.
So, big man. He's going to go there.
3-night stay.
He's going to rent a room using Hobart's name. So he rents a room, which, he knows he's a wanted man, probably. He escaped from a fucking high-security mental facility. He's probably wanted. The following day, so he stays over there that night. He's fine. Okay, now, we've heard some crazy shit. The following day, it gets crazier.
Wow.
This may be the weirdest thing that anybody in any of our stories has ever done, and that includes dismemberment and everything else.
Beyond paperweight beatings?
Beyond this might be the weirdest thing anyone's done. The thing that I've ever heard with the least chance of success is this right here.
Yeah.
He goes into a Rite Aid.
Yeah.
Okay, Rite Aid is a drugstore, pharmacy, Walgreens, basically, CVS,
right.
Whatever your equivalent to that is where you live. So he goes in there, he goes to the pharmacy section, and he unsuccessfully, obviously, this has never worked in the history of mankind, he tries to barter some, costume jewelry, fake costume jewelry that he stole for morphine at the pharmacy.
If that's
at
not
the pharmacy, bro,
a dead giveaway that you should not have these drugs or that you're an addict, what the fuck did he think was going to happen?
He walked into a legitimate pharmacy with hundreds of locations, not like a back of someone's van, and he said, "Hi, I have no prescription and no money.
I've got
what I do have
pirate costume.
What I do have is a lovely brooch." Now,
this harmonica was played by Billy Joel. Can I trade it?
What in
Piano
the
Man
holy
himself.
Fuck is he thinking in this case?
He had better options of things to barter. And he's going with costume jewelry.
And that's just crack behavior there. That's just, that's just I've never heard of that before.
That's absolutely getting police called right now.
That's crazy. Then he leaves there, and they call the police after he leaves.
Yeah.
They're like, that seems suspicious. I mean, that's not normal, right? That's not normal. We've literally never had that happen in the history of pharmacies. So I feel
literally
like
said, I'll suck your dick.
yeah. Or I have this lovely jewelry. Yeah. No, that's a real sapphire. Okay. So then he goes to a nearby Burger King after that.
He's really going to try that I got these cheeseburgers, man?
No. He realized, this is what's amazing. You can see the process. He realized, okay, well, shit, no one's going to take costume jewelry as a form of currency.
Yeah.
This isn't a good thing. I need a job, damn it. I need to make some money. So he goes to Burger King and fills out a job application. At Burger King.
Wow.
In his cousin's name, Jimmy.
He's going to get somebody else hired, and he's going to show up for the job?
I don't know. Who gets paid? That's the other thing. You get a check in your cousin's name. You can't cash that.
Right.
What the fuck are you thinking? So that's not going to work. So he heard that he saw police officers. Every Burger King is all windows. So he sees police outside. Now, you never know. Police could be getting a burger. I mean, everybody eats lunch. So he hides in the bathroom. Okay. He hides in the bathroom. And the cops, by the way, are just there to eat burgers. They're there for the Whopper meal deal. I think they had 2 for $5s going on, and they were excited about it. They're not there for him.
That's a great deal.
It's a great deal. He goes into the bathroom and then comes out thinking, well, they got to be gone or something eventually here. Leaves the restaurant. The cops are in the parking lot, I guess, eating their food, doing whatever, talking, regrouping. I don't know what the fuck they're doing in the fast food parking lot, but they're sitting in there. Whereas he then walks up to the police officers with his hands up. They're not even looking at him, by the way. They haven't given him a second thought. He approaches them, hands up, and said, "Are you looking for me?"
Yeah.
The guy's like, hold on a minute. They put pickles on my shit. What now? What do you want? I told them no pickles.
Fries. They gave me onion rings.
Can you hold for a second?
Yeah.
Wait, even in person. Shit. So they talk to him. They're like, we're not really. No, we're just eating Burger King. Why? Should we be looking for you? If you ask a cop with your hands up, are you looking for me? They're going to have follow-up questions. They're not just going to go, nope. And then you go, all right, cool, and walk away. That's not how that exchange is going to go.
Depends on how lazy that cop is. But yeah, that's generally it.
They're probably going to go, whoa, pal, come back for a minute. Wait a second here. Now,
he's going to look at his partner and go, do you want to do the paperwork? I don't want to. No, we're not.
Yeah, that's suspicious. I mean, that's very suspicious right there. So you're not looking for me, are you? Hands up. So he ends up, they talk to him and they say, well, who are you? And he goes, I'm John Hobart. I'm John Hobart now. He was like, I didn't want to tell him I was the Bear King right away. I didn't want to get him too excited about it.
It's not a good opener.
I'm the Bear King. They're like, yeah, right. That's who, you gotta dip a toe in first and get used to the water. So he gives him Hobart's name. Then he finally gives him his real name. And, they know that they're supposed to be, this guy's name is out there. It's a small town. It's not like they're looking for a ton of escaped mental patients at this point. So they detain him, which they just hold him for a minute and pat him down. And they find the pocket knife and also the paperweight and the sock he still has in his pocket, which is a wild weapon to just carry around the streets. It's effective as fuck, but you just don't hear it very often.
He filled out an application with those in his pockets.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
When I was a kid, kids used to carry around a hammer or a screwdriver or some shit like that could technically be denied it's a weapon, but I've never heard of, I'm just going to put a rock in a sock and carry it with me as a weapon. It's a weird one. Wow. So, this all happens, and they bring him in. Now, the autopsy shows stab wounds, multiple and many stab wounds, to Mancini's chest and back.
Yep.
They said none of the stab wounds were lethal, though.
Really?
None of them were lethal. The fatal blows came from bludgeoning wounds to his face and jaw. Forceful enough to cause a lethal brain injury that would have killed him within a minute or two, they said. So, knife wounds to his left arm and wrists suggest a man that was trying to defend himself from a knife attack. Obviously, he's got defensive wounds, and Mancini had no internal signs of smoke or soot inhalation, so he was dead before the fire was lit, which we knew that because he went and soaked his weapons and walked around and went shopping first before he set him on fire.
Right.
So, he tried to trade. I'm just blown away by that still. I'm sorry. That's fucking insane. He tried to trade for morphine.
He even knew that harmonicas are worthless.
Yeah, he's like, fucking throw those out.
He traded fake jewelry before he tried with the harmonicas.
Yeah. So now he's arrested not for murder or anything. He is arrested for trying to get morphine without a prescription. Apparently you can't try to barter for morphine at Rite Aid. That's illegal. I feel like I'm the lady in Love After Lockup. I knew it was a rule. I didn't know it was a law. It's one of those, I think. That's what he's saying. That was my favorite line in all of Love After Lockup. There's motherfucking crack, and there's I knew it was a rule. I didn't know it was a law. You're not
evidently
supposed to fuck prisoners.
As a guard, you're not allowed to date / fuck prisoners. Wild.
Weird, right? That's strange.
Not just a rule, James.
Nope, not a rule. It's a law. So, he's arrested, and they're minor charges. So he's released from jail on February 15th.
As Hobart,
No, he said who he was now.
Okay, got it.
But he's released from jail, and upon exiting the jail, he is approached by an investigator with the Columbia County Sheriff's Department and also an agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms.
Oh, the ATF
agents. Yeah, they're getting involved too. He agreed to talk to them, and what comes now is an 11-page telling of what happened. I'm not going to do 11 pages, but he wrote out an 11-page
it's all in his handwriting? Holy shit.
It's all... Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into his confession. Yeah. Now, he said that this was a premeditated murder. He said that. Premeditated. He's been planning this. He said it was a murder of the snake who was George Mancini. He said that not only was it planned for a while under the nickname for himself that he gave it, quote, Operation Cobra. Operation Cobra, because Mancini was a snake. See, that's how that works. Operation Cobra. So now he's like Leonard Lake he's turned into now, where everything's an op.
Right.
That's what Leonard Lake had. He called everything an op. Killing women was an op. He's fucking nuts. So he's cooperative at first. First, he denied that he was ever even in Columbia County or ever went to Mancini's house. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. They pushed him a little bit, though, and then he said, okay, I was in the house. I went there, to try to get some drugs, but I didn't, touch him or do anything to him. I just left, and, I don't know he died? Fuck, that's rough. Yeah, I'll hold, So, cop leaves, comes back. So
there's nothing funnier than 911 putting you on hold.
That's amazing. While you're telling them about a dangerous escaped mental patient, literally. That's
I'm gonna see if this other phone call's more dangerous. Hold on.
Yeah, there could be 5 bears with machine guns actually at this very moment, but that's the call you wait for as 911. That's the most dangerous.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. You can save lives. That's what it is.
You say he's armed and dangerous and looking to cause harm. So, first it was I didn't do anything to him. I was in the house. And then finally he said, quote, I did it. I beat him. I stabbed him and I beat him. After I killed him, I lit the body on fire. Yeah. So he gives him that. And then he agrees to give the formal statement to both a detective and the person for the ATF. And 3.5 hours it took him to go through the whole thing. Wow. He describes it twice, goes through it once, and then the second time they write it down, to make sure it's accurate, basically. You got to get it twice. They said they delivered him Miranda rights more than once during all this, too. They kept delivering those. That was in the record. So the first thing they were like, is this random? And then he was like, oh, no, Operation Cobra. Like, no way. Like, you're talking about here. This is obviously an organized operation I got going on. He said that during the weeks preceding the hospitalization on February 3rd, he was living in the woods. Okay. And 2 weeks before the murder, he went with John Hobart to the Mancini home. And he told police that after that visit, that was the visit in which his cousin John Hobart begged Mancini for drugs and was refused. Okay. Wouldn't give him anything. He said at this point he was given quote, a mission from God.
Yeah.
We're on a mission from God. They're on a mission from God, like the Blues Brothers. Yeah. That's what's going on now. To destroy the Snake George. Yeah. That's what he said. A mission from God.
We're in need of harmonicas.
We need harmonicas, and we're going to... You got a half a pack of cigarettes and 3/4 of a box of harmonicas. We're ready to go. Wow. So he's on a mission from God to destroy the Snake George. He told them, they said, well, why'd you stole all this shit from his house? Do you admit to stealing all that shit? And he said, absolutely, I stole all that shit. Why did I steal that shit?
I'd love to know.
The spoils of war.
Oh, boy.
Jimmie, if you're the Bear King and you're put on a mission from God to kill the Snake George, you take spoils of war. Like, what the fuck, dude? Have you not been paying attention to what I've been telling you?
Yeah.
You are entitled. I mean, duh. Like, you don't have the mark of Merlin? What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Wake up, Jimmie. Wake up. Start thinking for yourself, Jimmie.
He said that to cops, James.
He said that to cops. Spoils of war.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Sounds great.
It's the booty, sir.
That's what it was. I'm just, that's what happens.
Holy shit.
So now he then changes his story somewhere in the middle to that Mancini sold heroin now. Now he was saying Mancini sold heroin.
Okay.
He changed it in the middle to he was a drug dealer. So, he sold drugs to minors. That's what he said. He was a teacher and he sold drugs to minors. That's what he told him. So,
what do you think is going to happen?
Mission from God, obviously. There is no evidence that Mancini sold drugs to anybody, including minors, by the way.
Sounds like a guy who had some fucking issues that needed medication.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying here. So he tells he says, quote, I didn't tell him the real reason that I wanted to kill Mancini. He said about his cousin. He said, I didn't tell my cousin that I was going there. That I was going there to kill him. I didn't tell him that. Mm-hmm. He said, I told him I was going to knock him out and I was going to rob him. That's what he told him. This is his apartment. It's on Breezy Hill Road in Hillsdale. So anybody knows where that is. Anyway, he said, so yeah, I that's what happened. End of story. So I just said I was going to rob him. Hobart didn't know shit. He said he was told him that he would come back in an hour. Basically, come back in an hour and grab me from this spot. Yeah. I'll meet you out there. Synchronized watches. So when Mancini answered the door, he tells the police that he, quote, appeared to be in a drug-induced state. Or it was 7:30 in the morning and you woke him up, which if you wake me up at 7:30, I'm going to look like I'm in a very drug-induced state.
Because you probably still are.
I am, well, I could still be from the night before. And on top of that, I'm tired.
It's early.
So, Demagol said he demanded drugs from Mancini. He goes, give me some drugs. And Mancini told him he doesn't have any more. I'm out. Got nothing.
Look at me.
Yeah. Look at me. I'm a mess. Mancini then asked him to please leave. He said then he has the balls to tell me to get out. Mm-hmm. I'm coming over here like a nice guy, like a gentleman, knocking on the door, asking him for drugs. And he's like, I don't have any. Get the fuck out at 7:30 in the morning. What a jerk, right?
We got to talk.
So at that point, I pulled out my knife and I lunged at him, is what he said. They said, well, how often did you stab him? How many times? And he said, quote, I think I stabbed him about 37 times.
About this random odd number.
In the ballpark of a very specific number, which is not between 35 and 40 or about 40, about 35, 37 times. That's just to make sure. Then this is what he tells the cop now, quote, I wanted to look into his eyes so I could see his soul. He told the cop that as well. So then they said, well, what was he doing? And he said, well, he's begging for his life. He's saying, oh, please don't kill me. Don't kill me.
In the middle of dying.
Stuff that he's just whining, blah, 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 blah. He's just he just had no I guess he was hurt. He was just like, I don't know. He's begging me to saying some shit. Who cares? So he said that he replied to him, quote, you're already dead. And that's when he took out a paperweight and beat the living shit out of him with it until brains came out of his ear. They said, well, why'd you do that? You already stabbed him 37 times. And he said, I hit him because he wasn't dying fast enough. Very impatient. I got things to do, Jimmie. I'm on a schedule.
Shit, man.
Can you die a little quicker for me and just pick up the pace here, asshole. Like, that's ridiculous. That's insane. So then he says that he, quote, started raiding the house. This is his words, by the way.
Raiding.
And
spoils of war.
Spoils of war.
Prehistoric words.
Yeah, it's some Viking shit here. So he said he piled up styrofoam, mail, and, quote, anything else that would burn, and covered Mancini's body with a sheet. He put all the stuff on top of him, then put a sheet over it. So it wouldn't all like fall out, so it would burn inside the sheet.
Right.
And he said he used a lighter, he said, to set all the shit on fire and burn him. He went into what they described as excruciating detail of what he did to him and the different stab wounds, talking about sounds it made.
Yikes,
and,
what?
All that shit he got into. He really detailed. He savored this shit, man. He was like a bunch of like in an 80s movie, if a bunch of like 16-year-old virgins and one of them finally got laid and they came back to the others and gave them a detailed account of what happened. That's what this is basically. Jesus. Yeah. Oh my God, you should have seen it. Yeah, it's one of those things. So he says about how he got there, all that shit. By the way, through all of this, makes no mention of being God, being King Arthur, a wizard, a knight, a fucking... None of this shit, by the way. Nothing. Not a bear king, no relation to Jesus.
Wow.
No, I thought he was this shit. Literally, I went there to... I was a mission from God because I went there to get his drugs. That's what he said. So, yeah, he said he couldn't dispose of the body, so he did that. They also, at the end of it, when prosecutors see the confession, they said, quote, God is nowhere in this picture. Where's these delusions that they're saying that he has? Like, right. He didn't say he had any of them in this, and this is kind of where you would say that you had that sort of thing. He does state that he said that he mutilated. They said, well, you killed him. Why'd you have to fucking set him on fire? Why'd you have to hit him after you saw brains come out? You kept hitting him. Like, why? And he said, because, quote, he couldn't stand him. That's why. I didn't like him, and that's why. I couldn't, quote, I couldn't stand him, and I just wanted to kill him. He said, he's talking about hating him, and he wanted to mutilate him.
Yeah.
All that sort of shit here. This, by the way, is after the week before, when he went into the hospital, he had said that he was a ninja. He added ninja to his list, by the way, of things that he was. A ninja. Robin Hood now as well. He added him to the list. Sir Galahad as well.
Yeah.
He was Robin Hood, Merlin, Sir Galahad, King Arthur, a ninja, and the Slayer of the White Stag, whatever that is.
These are great.
That's what he's got going on. That's the week before he gets out, but then the week before he goes into the hospital, but then he goes in the hospital where they medicate him and shit like that, and he was not having these delusions, but still wanted heroin is the problem. So
yeah, because that stuff is it works. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah. They also make a big deal later of while he's confessing, he's making little drawings on a little pad and paper, and he writes 666. Yeah. He draws fire, flames. He draws a flying eyeball, which could just be the Santa Cruz logo or the
Von Dutch.
No, the old skateboard. There was a Santa Cruz skateboard that had the flying eyeball fucking logo.
With the wings on the eyeball?
No, not a wing. It was like an eyeball with like roots coming off of it flying through the air.
That one.
There was a board that had that on it. I don't remember which one, but anyway, yeah. So that's what he's saying here. Jesus fucking Christ. He says that he alternately confesses that he didn't like Mancini. Then he says Mancini's a drug dealer, and it, quote, sickened him that Mancini was selling heroin to young people.
Yeah.
Like I said, no evidence of that.
Corrupting the youth.
And he wouldn't give me any. That's the main problem, because, I went there to get it from him, and when he didn't give it to me, I had a moral problem with what he did then. So it's like, okay. He's arraigned here on arson charges, and he's got murder charges and all sorts of shit like that. The Hobart, his cousin, is charged with first-degree robbery as well, and Demigol's held on murder charges without bail and arson and robbery and all sorts of shit like that. It's 2 counts of murder in the second degree, robbery in the first degree, and arson in the second degree. So there's that.
Those are heavy.
Yeah. The Demigol family hearing of William being arrested. The father said he heard his son had been arrested from his sister, who saw it on television. He said he tried to check himself into the mental hospital after that as well, because he was going so crazy about it here. He said that he has not spoken to his son since the arrest. Was it him, or did he try to check? Yeah, he tried to check himself in. The dad did. Yeah, wow. It rocked him. So he said he's usually, about his son, quote, he's usually a very loving and kind person. He has had girlfriends in his life, and he's well loved by his family. So this just blew me away. It is unlike him as a person and what he appreciates and what I thought his morals were. The kid is really sick. This isn't anything he grew up emulating. This is something that happened because he's psychotic. Not my fault. Yeah. He just said this isn't something he grew up emulating. Like, he didn't see this. He didn't see me beating an older man to death and then setting him on fire. So this is not my fucking fault, basically. That's amazing.
I've been trying to tackle this in and out of hospitals and such. That's what I was trying to teach him, not this.
Jesus Christ. He said, quote, it's horrible, horrible. This is the father, Stephen. The reason this has happened is because Willie is very psychotic, and I made numerous attempts to the Pittsfield police to inform them he was a danger to himself and others, and I made numerous calls to the state police. So now Mancini, one of his friends from where he taught, which was the Career Institute of Technology for 24 years, he said that the director, Ron Roth from the Institute, said, quote, he was a really sharp guy, a good teacher. We're all shocked and upset by this. So that's nice. He said he'll remember him as a quiet, thoughtful man. And he, was very sad about it. All the teachers were. He wasn't it wasn't like an asshole that we were like, oh, that fucking asshole. Right. Yeah, we're glad he's dead. So in jail now, William's in jail, and now he's getting the treatment. Now he's getting treatment. Yeah. He's getting the medication he needs and all of that. And this is according to his father. His own father says he's been visiting him, and he seems like he's great now. He's doing fine. He's on medication. He says, quote, it will take a good number of months to get him stabilized, and I think the reality of what has happened is going to hit him like a ton of bricks. When you are manic, you think you are right and everybody is wrong. He could be in the land of King Arthur for all he knows. So
I would say yes, he is. He said so.
He did. He also said he was the Bear King.
Yeah.
Now the police chief, they ask the police chief, "Hey, are you happy with your way your department handled that whole thing? You think you could have done a little better
any
finding the guy?" Yeah. And he said, "Hold on a minute, I got to."
Yeah. Can you hold?
Can you hold, please? I got to really take this. He said there was a midst of an internal investigation, a review, not an investigation, on the escape. And he said that the sheriff finally said, Anthony J. Riello, he said that he was, quote, comfortable with how his department reacted to the situation.
Wow.
I'm comfortable. He said that he laid out the timeline. He was the one who gave out all the recordings and everything like that. He said, quote, I'm comfortable that we got things rolling right away. Do I have questions? Certainly, and I'm going to ask them, but I'm comfortable.
Oh, so, boy.
Yeah.
How do you get comfortable at all with can you please hold? Never.
Yeah, they talk about that, and they talk about the doctor calling to talk about Demogal again, and the sergeant replying, William who?
Who that?
So there was that. Now that they have him in custody, by the way, investigators want to speak to him about another unsolved homicide. In the homicide of Jan Stackhouse, who authorities say bled to death after suffering stab wounds to the neck. Her body was found on May 1st, 2005 on a rural Stockbridge road about a mile from the caves where he stays and was staying then. They also want to interview him about the death of Anthony Colucci, who was stabbed to death in October in Mountain State Forest in Washington. In October Mountain State Forest in Washington on July 4th, 2005. So that's New York, by the way. So they want to know there. But the father, Stephen, said he's sure his son was not involved in either of those crimes. He's like, listen, not my guy. No way. He said William was living with him for much of that summer, and he had a girlfriend with whom he spent much of his time. So he was out a lot is basically what he just said. He said, quote, he wasn't manic then, and he wasn't psychotic, and when he did become manic, he wasn't as psychotic as he is now. He was in Jones last summer, and he was medicated, and I was around for all of that, and he wasn't over in October Mountain looking to kill someone. So they got to investigate a little more. They can't just take the father's word for it there. For court, they do some DNA. They do some DNA just to make sure. They tested. There's 5 items of clothing taken from Demigol and Mancini that Demigol had on him, containing blood with a DNA match to Mancini. So physical evidence puts him there just in case. They said the prosecutor said they're not even going to call John Hobart to the stand, the cousin. Because A, he wasn't there.
Right.
B, he's a dirtbag and not helpful.
Right.
And C said he doesn't have to testify because, quote, I have DNA in a confession.
Yeah, DNA
pretty good.
Confession, and that guy's unreliable? No, thank you.
Yeah, no thanks. Let's stick to this shit.
His credibility's fucked? No.
Nah. So December of 2006 here is his trial. Now, a trial. Fast, yeah, came up fast. They obviously there's kind of undisputed elements of the murder. Basically, he did it.
Yeah.
We know that he admitted that. His defense of insanity is what he's going for. Obviously, that would be a thing here. The burden of proof in an insanity defense is on the defendant to prove it. At that point, you take the onus off the prosecution and you put it on yourself. They have to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that at the time of the murder, quote, as a result of mental disease or defect, he lacked substantial capacity to know or appreciate that such conduct was wrong, meaning against the law in the state of New York or against commonly held moral principles, namely the law of God or both. Namely the law or God or both. So whatever the fuck you think you're governed by in there. Now, so there's that. He says that he can't prove basically his inability to appreciate that his conduct was illegal, but he gets all the psychiatrists to say that he's out of his mind. So
that should be easy.
First of all, the medical examiner is describing all the wounds and the bludgeoning, sending several members of the Mancini family running from the courtroom in tears.
I'm sure.
That's not a great look for you if you're the defendant. Now, one of the cop he talked to was there as well, and they asked him, hey, why didn't you didn't ask him about any of his he was wearing army style pants, and he was talking about Project Cobra. He didn't really ask any follow-up questions about that sort of shit, the crazy stuff. Yeah. And the cop was like, no, we were getting the goddamn details of the crime. I don't give a fuck why he did it, or it's irrelevant.
That's his defense later. I could give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm not
curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't a true crime podcast. No. This is a goddamn...
This is a police investigation.
This is a fucking interrogation room.
Ask me one more question. I'll put you on hold.
Yeah, I will put you on hold super fast, right from the witness stand. Your Honor, objection. No, sustained. He did put you on hold. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to sustain it. So he's going to bring in some psychiatrists here. He presents 3 different psychiatrists, does William: Stuart Kleinman, Stephen Price, and Thomas Qualter. Each of them were qualified as experts at trial, and they all had some shit to say. The people's expert agreed that he does suffer from a mental disease or defect, but the problem is that he probably knew the difference between right and wrong, is what they're saying. So he details to the shrinks his visit to the victim's house here, where he says he's gone all the way to he's seen people buying drugs from Mancini now. Oh, okay. Now it's past suspecting. He also said that he had a vision in which he saw Mancini and his eyes were soulless and crumbled to ash before him. Wow. That's what he tells psychiatrists. So Kleinman is up first, this psychiatrist. He testifies he examined him over the course of 2 days. He examined William and reviewed his records and all that sort of stuff. He said, to a reasonable degree of medical psychiatric certainty, that as a result of his mental illness, he was substantially unable to appreciate that his action was not consistent with commonly held moral standards or principles. He said that that William killed Mancini while under the influence of a, quote, psychotic belief that he was acting as a servant of God and completing a particular mission which he was commissioned by God to him. Whoa.
Incredible.
He then further concluded that he was not malingering. As we know, if you don't know, malingering means faking a mental illness in this sort of situation or in any other aspects of this. So, and it's tough. Another thing is, this is hard. It's hard when they bring in, because you don't want to have someone who's actually mentally ill and can't help themselves or can't help their actions in prison, because that helps nobody, obviously. But the problem is when you are sick and you go to a doctor, you can say, my heart's fine. Yeah. And when they do tests and they can see that it's not fine. And no matter what you say, they know what's wrong with you because they test things. You know what I'm saying? They do a blood test. Right. Yeah. Well, I don't feel like I have cancer. Well, you fucking do. I don't know what to tell you.
I got news for you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's the thing. Psychiatry is not that way. Psychiatry, all a psychiatrist can do is rely on the self-reporting of the patient, because what else do they have? They can't hook them up to a machine and go, you're lying. You actually don't think you're the Bear King. There's no way to do that.
Yeah.
So that works fine in a, if Jimmie's trying to get better and not be depressed and going to therapy, then his goal is to get better, and then that person's trying to help him. So it's irrelevant whether Jimmie's lying to that person or not, because it's Jimmie's dime, basically. So if you want to lie and make something up and waste your time for an hour, go crazy. But when it's a criminal thing, it's a different case completely. Then you have to have people basically see into someone's brain and tell, and it's can be easy to do. So he said, though, he's not malingering. So the psychiatrist number 2 testifies that he examined him multiple meetings. This guy did, and reviewed his records and all that. He interviewed his mother and his sister. Yeah. He said at the time of the murder that William believed that he was on a mission from God. Again, did not know or appreciate his conduct was against commonly held principles. He also concluded that he was not malingering as well. So he's good. Shrink number 3 for the defense, Qualter. He testified he conducted 3 interviews with him again and reviewed all his shit and talked to people. He said at the time of the murder that he could not appreciate that his actions were wrong. And with respect to commonly held morals, he explained that when William killed Mancini, he was, quote, operating under a significant delusional, firm, fixed, false belief of being in the medieval times, having a mission, of having the vision, and of having to end the life of this serpent with the venom.
Yikes.
That's what he says. That is not, I wanted his heroin, or I saw him buying heroin, or he sickened me. Yeah. That is not any of that shit that he originally said. This is a whole other thing. To this psychiatrist, he literally said he thought he was in medieval times. Mm-hmm. And, killing a dragon serpent, an instruction from the queen or some bullshit, Wow. So now shrink number 4 is this is a prosecution psychiatrist here. And now this is Alan Tuckman. Alan Tuckman, he met briefly on 2 occasions and reviewed records. Didn't spend as much time as others, though. He said that whether William knew if the murder was morally wrong, he said that, quote, legal and moral principles are really the same with one exception. What you know is morally wrong, you know is legally wrong, and what's legally wrong, you know is morally wrong. The only exception is where an individual's beset with a hallucination that they got a specific direct command from God to do this for some psychotic reason. Okay, now he testifies that, quote, it was clear to him that William's idea that he got a message from God was not truthful in the way it was presented to him. He said he's malingering. That's his thing. He said it's very convenient that, because he looks over all his records, and he's like, it's very convenient that he is batshit when it's convenient to be batshit, and when it comes to being in front of shrinks and being in front of cops, and then perfectly fine when he needs to be perfectly fine.
Yeah, but he's not perfectly fine. He's hiding in fucking caves.
He's hiding in caves then, but then he's definitely, that's the thing.
Definitely nuts.
That's the thing, and this is the thing with the law. Nuts is not mentally ill legally. And that's the difference.
And it's not.
You can be nuts, but unless you literally heard voices, saw visions, did not know you were on this earth and the year it is, and that the laws exist. Unless that's the only way you can prove insanity nowadays. Right. That's it.
And it's not illegal to be crazy.
No,
I embrace it every day.
Exactly. Jesus, we wouldn't. It's our whole lives. It's our whole goddamn shtick. So. We can't help it. Thank fuck. Yeah. So, but that's the thing is legally in society, obviously you could say he's insane, but legally you have to not even know where you are basically to be insane legally. In the 70s, he would be like that, insane in an institution, like Richard Ramirez's cousin there. I was going to say uncle, but cousin, who he was put in a facility, same kind of way. Nowadays, that guy would have been life in jail, done, 2 seconds. So he didn't believe the claim that that William was receiving messages from God, because during their interview, he said William described the vision he received as a, quote, foresight and a premonition. And all of this meant, he said, it was a feeling and a thought, a spur-of-the-moment thing rather than a specific statement from God. That's the quote from Tuckman. He also concluded that certain aspects of his behavior at or around the time of the murder revealed an awareness on the part of his moral wrongness of his acts, specifically that he tried to hide the crime and evade prosecution.
There you go. He knew what he was doing.
That's the main one that they always do. If you know enough that I need to hide this and go, then you know that it's wrong, then you shouldn't have done it. That's how they break down mental illness. If he was there, the way the law works, if they're saying if he was truly crazy, he would have sat there and played with his own feces until the police arrived and not even realized it was and he would have waved at them and said, "Can I get you some? Can I make you a cone?"
Name a song with a harmonica, I'll play it.
Yeah.
While he pushes a flaming body up a flagpole. Like, that's crazy.
That's what I mean. So he said that he tried to do that. Among other things, he tried to cover the bodies with a blanket, locking or barricading the doors to the apartment as well, and giving a false name in the days following the murder.
Another great
as well.
Point. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, he stole items and money from that. Why would Merlin need a sleep apnea machine?
Good point.
Why would the Bear King need costume jewelry? You know what I'm saying? Right. Why would the son of Jesus need fucking T-shirts?
It doesn't make James. That's why
it's the Bear Essentials. So
simple their necessities.
Oh man! So now on cross-examination, he conceded that he accepted all of the. This is Tuckman said he accepted all the defendant's mental illnesses and delusions, but he did not accept that he got specific direct verbal direction from God to do this, which would be the only thing that would make you legally, in this range. He also concluded that he was malingering aspects of his mental illness, both to psychiatrists now and to family members and other medical professionals back then. He said whatever reason, this is what he was doing. This is his thing that he does. He also acknowledged that there was another examination he's talking about. He said, quote, if the defendant was malingering the same material 4 years back, there's a good chance he was malingering the material in 2006, too. He said that basically that somebody else said he was malingering a few years before that. Okay. So that's how that works. So there's no doubt who did this. The only question to the jury is he sane enough to put in jail? So verdict comes in. By the way, the deliberations took a couple of days. The families from both sides hung out together during this.
Really?
The Mancini family hung out with the Demigall family, and they sat and, they just would cry together and do all that kind of shit, and they'd break at lunch, and they would, no harsh, they wouldn't talk shit to each other.
No, they both lost sons and family members in this. It's a bonding. I've seen that in so many cases where the families of each side, like, hug each other and just love each other because they all lost.
Well, they're all in something. It says here in the newspaper here, for a short time on Thursday, Demigall's father, Stephen, and George Mancini's daughter, Alyssa, shared a bench outside the courtroom and talked quietly before retreating to their families. So they were, Yeah. Mancini's family, his daughter, his son, his brother, his sister, and other people all had to hear about the beating and the burning and all that kind of shit, which is rough. They talk about that. They're talking, his niece is outside, and she said, quote, his daughter, I apologize, Mancini's daughter said, quote, I don't care about the verdict. I miss my father. I don't care what happens to that person, which is the exact reaction that my family had when a member of our family was murdered. Was that, like, doesn't fucking matter. That's whatever. Can I kick her in the twat? No? Well, then what the fuck do I care? Yeah, I don't know this person. So, because that was a female murderer in that case. So, and although she says that she has sympathy for the Demegal family, she does not buy into the element that he is that insane. She said, quote, I'm not so kind or forgiving. There is nothing they can say or do that would change a thing. So they don't give a fuck. So finally, the jury asks, they said they have an 11-1 stalemate, okay, at one point.
That asshole.
They're 11-1. And then they go back in for another 50 minutes and to keep deliberating for another 50 minutes. And anyway, this all comes out. William's in court here. And they have, they end up finding him. Well, let's see here. What do they do? We got to get that. They find him guilty of everything. Murder, guilty, arson, all that kind of shit. Guilty. So this ends up here. The guilty verdict comes down, and the Mancini family is very happy. Basically, William seems fine in court. He said, I love you all to his family, and then was taken away. And the Demegal family said they are very angry about this.
Really?
Yes. One of his aunts said, quote, I have no idea how the jury could be so confused. William Demegal should be in a hospital. This is not making the world a better place. I think it's disgusting and outrageous.
Oh, Ma.
Her husband there, this is his uncle, said that the mental health system had failed Demegal in allowing him to escape, and now the justice system has failed him as well. Said if there is ever a case that clearly defined this kind of plea, this is it. He's not a criminal. He's a person who's had to go through tremendous torment in his life because of an illness that was out of control and not his fault. He called the jury's verdict unbelievably callous and insensitive. We have an extremely strong case for appeal. Now,
you can't say he's not a criminal. He fucking killed somebody.
Yeah,
that's
and a
criminal
brutal
behavior.
Yeah, and then stole a bunch of shit.
And then he's blaming the hospital for letting him escape. But he's like, he's not a criminal. If he's not a criminal, then they can't fucking hold him. You can't hold somebody against their. Well, you want him to fucking handcuff him?
Yeah, dude, exactly.
At some point, you've got to go along with the fucking program.
And unless he killed the guy and then was like, I did it, I killed the Serpent King, call the media, you know what I mean? But like, he was like, I'll steal some sleep apnea machines and harmonicas and barricade the door and leave. That doesn't look good. And so the prosecutor, he said that he agreed with the Mancini family that yes, he thought Demegal was mentally ill, but he should go to prison because he knew he wasn't that mentally ill, basically. The defense attorney is shocked. He predicted an hour before the verdict that the 11-1 stalemate was in his favor.
Wow.
It was 11 for his side and 1 for the prosecution. And then once they came back, they found out that wasn't the case.
Right.
And
angry men situation.
Yep. William's father, Stephen, said, quote, the judge got his desired verdict. Okay. So there's that. Well, sentencing comes up.
Did, but,
yeah. Well, no, he means the judge. He means the judge wanted his guy to lose. He was saying it was. Sentencing comes up, and you, sir, may fuck off, I suppose, here. 25 to life he gets.
Okay.
25 years to life, which is a reasonable sentence for murder.
For now, that kind of murder, fucking,
it was brutal.
Jesus.
It was brutal, man. His skull was caved in. Right. Like, it was fucking disgusting.
It was like a cue
if you
ball
saw
in
it,
a
you'd
sock.
go, whoa.
That's crazy.
That's disgusting. March 22nd, 2007, Demegal's father writes an editorial for the Berkshire Eagle, which by the way, credit to the Berkshire Eagle. There's a lot of good articles where I got some information out of. They covered this up and down, that newspaper. So he says, quote, on March 21st at the Columbia County Courthouse I almost said whorehouse, in Hudson. It's a way different place. My son, William S. Demagall, was convicted of second-degree murder of George Mancini of Hillsdale, New York. He received 25 years to life in state prison. There's no question that he's responsible for the murder, but there are others that share in the responsibility. Okay. The systems that protect our society failed. Berkshire Medical Center's Jones 3 unit allowed a severely mentally ill person to escape from the secure smoking area. The Pittsfield Police Department did not even send an officer over to the hospital when the staff first reported my son escaped and was seen on foot heading towards Springside Park. I also add myself to the list for not doing enough for my son sooner. Plenty of blame to go around on this tragedy. Okay. Fair enough. Mm-hmm. Plenty of blame is probably a fair thing. Now, 2009, he appeals.
Yeah.
Okay. And the appeal essentially is about the presentation of experts is how it works. So they said prior to the close of proof, defense counsel indicated he planned to point out in the summation that Tuckman, who was the one who said he wasn't crazy, right, was not the first psychiatrist to be used by the people to examine the defendant. The county court directed the counsel that he would not be permitted to make such a statement. The court stated that the comment would require jurors to speculate and call into question the district attorney's credibility. So apparently, upon cross-examination, earlier Tuckman had reviewed the 40-page report of Dr. Kleinman, who was the first doctor, and came up with like a different conclusion based on the guy's reporting. Okay. So they were saying that instructed the jury it was not permitted to speculate. Originally, Kleinman was the state's guy, okay? And he ended up testifying for the defense. Is basically the state didn't like the answer they got from the first shrink, so they said, never mind, kept his report. The second guy reviewed his report, talked to him, Demagall, a little bit, and just said he was fine. Okay. And Kleinman ended up testifying on the other side. So that's how that ended up working. It was a little bit. It doesn't look good. It's shady, essentially. Yeah. It looks shady here. Tuckman's also Tuckman wrote an article as well. In the article, he misrepresented the law essentially. In the article, it was a 40-page. Oh no, that was the 40-page report there. There's this article. In the article, he spoke favorably of a 2006 order of county court rejecting a defendant's plea and approved of the legal standard applied by the court, a standard that we found out to be a misapprehension of the law. So at trial, the defense cross-examined Tuckman regarding the article, but the defense's attempt to delve into the legal basis underlying Tuckman's writing in an effort to explore his understanding of the insanity defense law under New York law was objected to and sustained. Okay. So they never got to get into that. So that's how that ended up working. Overall, the questioning of Tuckman regarding the article and its award, because the article won an award, as it transpired here, of course, was too likely to confuse the main issue and mislead the jury. That's what they said. So, what ends up happening is he was the only one saying he was malingering, so this is overturned.
Wow.
It's overturned. Now, I found a weird fucking thing, Jimmy. It's so weird. Okay. Somehow, I believe William Demagall's mom died. Okay. Or somebody in her family died. Either way, there's a property in what I believe could maybe be his name. It's William S. Demagall. Okay.
That he owns it?
I'm not sure if he owns it or not. This is what I'm saying. This is just some research here. It's a property record for a Sarasota County, Florida home. Okay. It's David A. Demagall and William S. Demagall. Okay. They own this home in Florida. Their address, this mailing address, is for Columbia Station, Ohio. Okay. Now, the address of the home that's owned by these two individuals, Jimmy, buckle up. 322 King Arthur Drive.
Get out of my life. Really?
King Arthur fucking Drive, Jimmy. Look.
How is that even possible?
It's either the biggest coincidence in the world, and that's not even the right Demagall, and it just happens to be that, or else
a subdivision called Round Table.
Yeah, it's Sir Galahad Lane. Either that, or That's maybe where he got the idea. Wow. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying that's for or against anything. I'm just saying that's a weird fucking thing that I found. It's the weirdest shit.
In Sword and Stone, Florida.
Down in Sword and Stone, Florida. That's a good one. I like that one. It's a little 20 miles south of Fantasia, right? I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It's beautiful down there. So they do want to try him again, obviously. In November of 2009, he's found unfit to stand trial.
Really?
Mentally. But then in 2010, he's found that he's feeling a lot better, and he's fit to stand trial by now.
So they
just keep checking him over to see if he's fit. But now, how about now? Is he fit now? 2011 is trial number 2. Mm-hmm. Okay, now, the prosecutor insisted throughout this trial that Demagol deliberately and knowingly killed Mancini, who he intended to rob. He said, quote, Demagol knew what he did before, during, and after the crime. After this crime was wrong. That's why he tried to cover it up and all this type of shit. He urged jurors not to believe the defense argument that Demagol believed he was a wizard ordered by God to slay Mancini. You know how that goes. So, verdict comes in here. While they're waiting, Steven said that he is, he's waiting for the verdict. And he said, quote, the first trial has prepared us for anything. So, whatever happens, he said, I don't think you ever get used to the waiting.
No.
Which, waiting for your verdict and your murder trial has to be the most stressful thing in the world.
I'm sure it's up there.
You can't, other than right before you're murdered, it's probably the most stressful thing in the world.
Might be right.
So, at 7 p.m., the jury comes back, and he is found guilty, again, of second-degree murder this time. Second-degree murder. So they said that they're thinking about appealing the verdict, and the father, Stephen, Demagol's father, said if they do, they're going to go shopping for a new lawyer. He said, quote, he's done of the lawyer that had enough of him, who got him fucking convicted. So 2011, they're going to sentence him, but the sentencing is delayed due to a bad report. There's a pre-sentencing report that you give out that has to have all this information in it, and apparently there was a bunch of shit that weren't in the pre-sentencing report. It just slacked and didn't put it together well enough. So they ordered the probation department to amend the report, because this is the state's supposed to put this together. Yeah. It's on them, and then resubmit it. And they have to wait until March 1st now from January to get sentencing. Michael Mancini said, quote, this is the son, quote, I'll wait. I live this every day like it happened yesterday. Oh, this is his brother. I'm sorry. He said he's been struggling with guilt because he's the guy who introduced his brother to Hobart. So that's how it worked. And so he feels terrible. He says, quote, I have a lot of things on my mind and I want to say when he is sentenced. Yeah. So March comes around, more sentencing. You, sir, may again fuck off. 25 years to life again.
Second time.
Got
him.
2014. Okay. They court in the appeal. They said that they talk about Tuckman again because he's back involved in this. And they say that they asked him whether during his examination of, when he examined William, quote, was there any conversation concerning about whether he asked for a lawyer when he talked to the police and gave his statement? Tuckman responded that it was discussed and then related his discussion with the defendant as follows. I said, you asked for a lawyer. If you said that you didn't do anything wrong, why would you ask for a lawyer? And he said that, well, maybe they thought I did something wrong. And I believe at one point I said, if you were on a mission from God and God told you, why would you need a lawyer? You're on a mission from God.
Yeah.
So he was seeing if he was malingering. If he's on a mission from God, he'd be like, I don't need a lawyer. Talk to God, bro. Fucking God's if he believed that the whole time. But also he was interviewed 3 days later. So we don't know if that was his mindset when he was doing the murder or not.
72
so that's
hours.
The other thing.
Yeah, changes things.
Yeah. It's not like the cops rushed in and caught him right afterwards and he was sitting there saying this shit. Who knows? So they said, though, the court says had this issue been preserved, not perverted, we would find that this exchange resulted in the defendant's invocation of his constitutional right to counsel being used against him to create a prejudicial inference of conscientious guilt, and therefore beyond the bounds of proper questioning by the people and not permissible. Appealed, overturned again.
Oh, boy. Oh, my God.
Trial number 3, Jimmy.
Yeah, this is exhausting. How the fuck?
2015.
Oh, boy.
Trial number 3. Special prosecutor argues that Demagol's actions following the killing showed he understood what difference between right and wrong. Defense attorney Cheryl Coleman, now we got somebody new in the mix, said the trial's not about his innocence or guilt, obviously. He said she's more concerned about whether the state will accept his insanity defense and treat Demagol rather than convict him. Right. The attorney for the defense said that after years of grappling with severe mental illness, he had decided that he was upholding an alternate morality and that he had the right to kill. She said that Demagol believed at various times he was God or one of his agents or a wizard, Merlin, or King Arthur legends, or Arthur himself, or the Bear King, or Jesus, or a ninja, or the Slayer of the White Stag, or you name it. The defense attorney said, does it make sense? Of course not. It's mental illness. It's not supposed to make sense. He also disputed the notion, the defense did, that the fire set was set to cover up evidence. The fire, she said, only served to alert police of the crime.
Oh, it was his SOS.
He was doing it as a gesture to them, actually. That was the thing. He didn't want to cover it. He was trying to tell them about it, like with a smoke signal.
I need help.
Yeah, she said, which may have he said, otherwise it would have gone unreported for some time.
So she was on hold.
Yeah. They said, well, then why did he barricade the back door and lock the fucking front door then? And she went, oh, well, we're not sure about that. Who knows?
Touche. You win.
It's a tough one there. So the verdict is 8 women, or the jury, 8 women and 6 men, and 12 of whom will deliberate. And then there's alternates and all that shit. Yeah. 4 days of deliberation.
Wowza.
They go on 4 days. They finally come back and say, hopelessly deadlocked, and a mistrial is fucking...
Oh, my God!
A mistrial is called here. The defense attorney said that her client was incapable in the time of the killing of understanding what he did was wrong, and such a conviction would have resulted in his confinement. And either way, he should be confined to a secure mental facility until a judge decides he's cured. Coleman said, quote, if he's probably going to be confined for the better part of his life, wouldn't it be better if it was a view toward treatment should he ever be released? Now, Stephen, the father, he said he's not sure what will happen next, but he's pretty sure there'll be another trial.
Yeah.
He said, we're not disappointed, but it's better than guilty.
We're not?
We're disappointed, but it's better than guilty. So he says that since the murder, his son's health has improved a lot since treatment in jail.
Well, thank God.
And but his lawyer's whole case is he can't get treatment in jail. And the father then comes out and goes, they treat him he gets such great treatment in jail. He's doing great. So it's kind of that's a tough one. Not saying that you get better treatment in jail. I'm just saying he's saying it's working for him. So he said before all this happened, he said he was good, he was strong. I'm very proud of the way he handled himself in court today. That's the way he used to be. That's the way he was before. The Mancini family, on the other hand, George's sister, said, we're very frustrated. We're beside ourselves. This is the 3rd time we've been through this. At the moment, having a mistrial is better than not guilty. We're looking for justice. Even though Demagol is ill, we're looking for my brother's soul to rest in peace. My brother was a great person. He was a great asset to our family that we no longer had. And also, he's got 2 adult children. She's saying that he's got a grandchild now that he never will get a chance to meet. All that sort of thing. Now, November 2019 is supposed to be the pleading for the next trial. He pleads not guilty by mental defect again, and then COVID happens and we haven't had a trial yet.
God damn it.
So either way, he's either going to be in a facility or in jail or somewhere. They're not going to let him out on the street anytime soon. But that's one you can discuss amongst yourselves of what the fuck do you do with that situation. I mean,
what do you do?
He seems like he's pretty insane, but at the same time, there's a lot of signs that that's all real calculated at the same fucking, so it's like
the ending
he lives in
being
caves,
that he tried to cover it up tells you everything. In my opinion, I mean, yeah, I'm no lawyer.
I'll give you one of the two. I'll give you stealing the shit or trying to cover it up. But if you do both, that's what every murderer in all of our cases does. They kill a person, then steal some shit, then try to cover up the murder. That's what every sane person does. So if your actions are sane, how are you insane? Because you're doing sane actions. Or at least, I mean, that's the chicken or the egg thing there. So you can all talk about that amongst yourselves. Either way, he thought, it's pretty wild that he said he was the Bear King and Merlin and Sir Galahad and King Arthur and Jesus and Jesus'
There's
son.
1,000 people, James, locked up for murdering for drugs. That's what he did. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He told his cousin, I'm going over to get drugs from him.
Right.
He didn't have drugs. He killed him and took a bunch of valuable things that he could then exchange for drugs.
Right.
And then set the place on fire and barricaded the door closed.
But then the argument is he took those items to go exchange them for drugs, which is crazy because the things he took were worthless.
Yeah, well, he had $270.
Right. Yeah, that's a good
you could
point.
hock a sleep apnea machine. Those are expensive, those machines.
Yeah, they are.
You could hock that.
Yeah.
You could get $100 for that or something.
Accept jewelry for drugs.
No, and that costume jewelry for drugs. So it's a tough one, and we'll never know.
Yeah.
All we know is the fucking murder was crazy, and I feel bad. I feel bad for everybody's family involved in this. The Mancinis, the Demigals, everybody's a fucking everybody. No one's coming out good here, like happy.
Yeah.
No matter what happens to this kid, everybody's miserable. So who cares at this point? It's just a fucking wreck now. He's not even a kid anymore. He's in his 30s now, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
But that happened, 15 years ago. The murder.
Old man already.
He's like 36 now.
It's over for him.
So. Anyway, that, everybody, is Hillsdale, New York.
Oh, my.
And an absolutely bonkers, crazy shit murder.
Brought
that
to you
by Merlin and fucking heroin.
And
and the voice of God.
God damn it. Just not even medicinal weed. Just brought to you by fun.
Brought to you by recreational marijuana.
There's the word.
Brought to you by pass-through towns on the way from the Taconic to the Great Barrington Recreational Facility.
Fantastic.
Oh, man. So, yes, if you enjoyed that show, get on whatever platform you're on. Give us 5 stars because it does help, or 10 stars or 50 stars or however many fucking stars you're allowed to give.
Yeah.
Do that. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now, where you can get everything crime and sports and small town murder related. All of your merchandise. We have so much good stuff, new stuff up there. New designs for all sorts of new shit they have. Check it out. It's really, if you like merch stuff, there's so much to go through there. It'll take you a while, so check that out. If you've ever thought something was funny on the show, there's probably a t-shirt that says it, so you can check all that out. Do that. Get your tickets to live shows that we hope will happen, and if they do happen, you'll have tickets for them. So that's how that works. It's a very neat little thing that we do here. And
God, it's fucking exhausting. All right, go on.
Yeah. By the way, somebody posted they were mad at us because the shows were delayed to a time that we had no control over, obviously, because we took what dates were available. But they were mad and said, why don't we just give people their money back? And I was like,
I don't.
Like, we get the money.
I don't have any.
We have not seen. When we get money for live shows? When we leave the stage and then leave the venue, they send a check to our... we don't even.
So
we get it like a week later, 2-3 weeks later. When we do a show, we'll get money for that 3 weeks after that show. We don't see shit, so it's not like it's in our pockets, like we're sitting on it.
The last money we got,
we don't know,
was 3 weeks after the last show we did almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, in fucking Indianapolis or wherever the hell we were, Louisville.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, do all of that. Get your tickets to live shows. Come see us out there if we can actually get going. We hope to see you. We're dying to goddamn see you. We really do want to see you. You can follow us on social media. We are at Murder Small on Twitter, at Smalltown Pod on Facebook, at Smalltown Murder on Instagram. That'll get you caught up and kind of keep you in the loop of what's going on and anything that happens that you might need to know about. Also, and this is very big, Patreon. My God.
That's our thing.
Patreon. Yeah. It's our thing. Patreon.com/crime and sports. You might think, well, what am I going to get for Patreon? Am I just being a nice person?
No.
Well, yes, you're being a nice person, but for your $5 that it costs to get all the stuff on Patreon, you're gonna we bend over backwards because we're amazed that you want to give us $5. So we're like, holy shit, we got to give these people the best stuff in the world. So we try our best to do that and give you the craziest fucking episodes we can find. This week is no different at patreon.com/crime and sports. We have for you, for the crime and sports one, which you'll have access to. Obviously, you have access to everything if you're a patron. Is the Malice at the Palace, which is the big fight, the big basketball melee that happened in Detroit there about 15 years ago.
2007? 2006?
Maybe? Is it 2006? Yeah, around that. So it's about 15 years ago. That's what I was thinking. Right. It has to be somewhere in that ballpark, right? Yeah, it has to be there.
It was right before Reggie Miller retired.
Yeah, it was right around that
Matter of fact,
there,
it forced Reggie to retire.
He was like, I can't be a part of this. I don't want to get punched in the face by Ron Artest anymore. So anyway, they were, there's that. And then for the small town murder episode, we have one that I've just been dying to do forever. Non-dangerous conspiracy theories. These are conspiracy theories that you can believe in and you can not believe in. You can talk about with your friends. And at the end of it, you'll end up laughing instead of punching each other. You know what I mean? You could talk about the moon landing or the JFK assassination or Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot or shit like the Area 51. You can talk about that. And at the end of the day, you go, wow, who the fuck knows? And then you all laugh. And you go on with your day. Nobody gets shot. Nobody gets killed. There's nothing crazy. There's no I'll even throw flat Earth into there as a non-harmful one. It's harmful in terms of it's making our collective IQs lower. Right. But it's not harmful in terms of nobody has ever murdered someone because of the flat Earth God is coming for them or anything like that. So, or they heard that the flat Earth, has children in the basement or some shit. Like I've never heard of that. So dangerous conspiracy theories here. We're going to talk about so much fun. That is patreon.com/crime and sports. And if you just want to have a good time and be a nice person and also get a shout out at the end of the show, be one of the people that we are so goddamn grateful for, you can do that as well over at PayPal using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com.
Yeah.
That said, God damn it, Jimmy, it's about time. I think you need to hit me. Mm-hmm. Hit me good, like a paperweight in a sock.
Oh, boy.
Hit me with the names of the finest human beings that this earth has to offer. Hit me with them now, Jimmy.
This week's executive producer, Jordan Bennett, Elizabeth Britton, Joanne Ahern, Maria Gohl, and her baby Keon. I believe Keon was just born. I'm not sure. Tin Can Dan is back. Tin Can Dan.
Holy shit, we haven't heard from him in years,
it's
dude.
It's been at least 3 years.
Oh, Tin Can's Australian, right?
I believe so. Thrilled to know he's still around.
Hell yeah.
Nice to hear from you, Dan. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Got an original back. Yeah. Thank you.
And he says, at the time, an unreasonable amount of money. Like, we were stunned what somebody sent us that kind of money.
It was like $100. Yeah. It was years ago, and I think we hugged and cried. Yeah. We might have cried over it. I might have shed a tear over it.
It was a pretty big deal.
Thank you.
Terry and Brittany Birnbaum and their dogs Chubbers and Worf on IG. Beth Rippin, Catherine Sagan. Yeah, dogs. Of course, it's
cutie
dogs. Yeah, they're adorable dogs.
Cute. Love dogs.
Beth Rippin, Catherine Wells had a birthday. Happy birthday, Catherine. Ann Leskinen, Hannah Brooks, Christian Evans, Kelsey Akers. She's back. She just got it. Thank you, Kelsey. And then other producers. Truly, you guys are executive producers.
Amazing. Thank you.
You're unbelievable. We can't do this without you.
Above and beyond doesn't begin to describe it. Thank you.
You didn't have to, and you did, and we're fucking flattered. Other producers this week are Thomas Smith. Jessica Stivers had a birthday. Jessica? Why did I try?
Jessica.
Hey,
I'm Jessica.
I'm from the Bronx, Jessica.
Yeah, I was going to say, where are you from now? You going to get some water? You get some water when you're done?
Russell Hoggart also had a birthday. Happy birthday. Tyler Bryan's dad, Travis, had a birthday. Victoria Blau's birthday month, James. The entire fucking month.
Shit. She took that poor mother. Her poor mother. Just a whole month of labor. Jesus, terrible.
Ashley Evans, Ashley Vio, Frank the South African bird washer. Zeka is his last name. Joy Tatum, Patrick Elster. He donated both ways. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you.
Adam Bennett is a fat bitch, evidently. That's what I'm told.
Okay, that's not our assessment.
Matthew Gunnerstein is in a town of 50. That's a camp.
Whoa.
Not a town. Janice Hill.
That is. Whoa.
Very small. Meowsy McDermott, James, which I imagine is Dylan McDermott's cat. Jennifer Visconti,
sure.
Steve Schnell, Pixie De Leon, Peter Stone, Lavina Dick, and the Schmellies. It's
okay.
What fuck can they run? Daniel Yonts, Alexandria Kretkowitz, Garrick Rock, Kyle Juarez, Maria Rasper, Aaron Maria Krim was born. Welcome to this dumpster
Happy
fire
birthday.
of a world.
Good luck.
Anna Rodriguez, Sixto Liscano, James.
It's an old baseball player.
I imagine.
I know that. I know Sixto.
Ravi Shmulovich and Mitch Blood Green providing union breaks for gas station employees.
Oh, that's kind of him.
Courtney McKay, James Martyr, Peyton Meadows, Crystal Gabor, Larry Butterfass, and he just got a tattoo.
Oh, it's an awesome one. Thank you.
So rad.
Yeah, that's a cool one. You, sir, may fuck off. I love
Well done,
it.
Larry.
Good gavel going on.
Bordenyo. Bourdignon?
I like it that way.
I don't
Bourdignon.
Her best friend had a birthday, and then she didn't tell me who her best friend is. So anybody,
please, she knows who her best friend is.
Whoever Lord and Bodenhole,
But Lauren Buttonhole,
Bordenhole. Andre from Moldova, whoever that is, you know,
90 Day Fiance reference there. Good.
Ashley Taylor and other producers still going. James Wright, Clark Elkins, Lauren Kochia, Mallory Frost, Chrissy Boyer, Darian Chanot, Jamie Lee Matters, Zach Warren, Marty Rollins, Eli Collins, Meredith Dressing, Dylan with no last name, Emily Wardlow, Caitlin Snodgrass, Demas Wheeler, Ashley Smith, Tammy Hoare.
What? Wait a second.
H-O-A-R, that's whore, right?
Hold on a second. So it's not like whore, like a joke. Their name is H.
Her last name.
What else could that be?
Literally whore.
Whore?
Like
whore?
boar. A boar is spelled like that, so that's a whore.
Yeah. Even if you say whore, it sounds like you're like an Italian guy going, she's a whore. It doesn't either way. It's whore.
It's whore.
However you slice it,
Extra
it's a fucking whore sandwich right there. Damn, whore sandwich. We're fucked up.
Hannah Brooks, Ken Bird, Barbara Sampson, Dean Campisi, Chris McFarland, Kimberly Vess, Amy Adams, Brett Loudermilk, Carrie Hall, or whore.
Whore.
Wade Brechter, Caitlin with no last name, or whore.
Give her one. Give her one. Give her a last name, Jimmy. Come on.
Elliot Rubin, Jeffrey Smits, Paul Ashton, Nicole Raywinkle, Christian Evans, Crystal Erb, Jake Seiler, Nicolina Adcock, Michelle Davis, Brooke Whore, I guess.
Yes.
No last name. They're all getting it. Cody Evans, Caitlin Green, Heather Hayes, Alyssa Whore, M.M. Kaufman, Nancy Kelly, Bryant Hahn, Lane Hartwig, Bammer Areola.
Okay.
What?
Whore. Put a whore on the end of that one, I guess.
Tina Rice, Monica Sellis, and
really?
Shavery,
she got stabbed and then gave us money.
Shazery Fink, Bridget Tweedy, John Wing, Kristen Sweeterlich, I think, Killian Buck Cabrera, Whitney with whore. No, you didn't put last names this week. You're getting whore.
This is what you get.
Kristen Jenkins, Jordan Caverly, Michael Kahn, Patrick Megan, Kevin Hoare, the Kettle Black in Philly, Ashley Grau, Justin Wilson, Brandon Wolf, Lacole Talafera,
sure,
Caitlin Enns, Rhiannon Nothdurft. Boy, yeah. Oh boy. Megan Costa, Kenneth and Jillian Cook, Krista Hoare, Christy Mears, Kimberly Barnhart, Alan Hersig, Dragon Ass, Whore.
Dragon Ass Whore.
Jennifer Britton, Christina.
Dragon Ass Whore.
Tiberi, Lillian Giovanni, Thais Arawo, Drain, Whore, I don't know, Johnny B. Whore, Corey Merrill,
Johnny B. Whore,
Nikki Howell, David Large, Marion Phillips, Helen Pervusion, Jenna Kowarski, Addie 81. Okay, whore. Alman, Charissa Voigt, Leslie Hoare, Ann Vinter, Heather Frawley, Sarah Billington, Sarah Hoare, Sonia Waldock, Crystal Garcia, Candy Hoare.
Candy whore. I like that. The whore for candy. That's a good one.
Alan Faria, Sadie Johnson, Kylie Jones, Chloe Schwartz, Nina Ferrentinos, Jeremy Oakes, Jason Hughes, Christian Hanan, Angela Thomas, Max Harrington, Michelle Brown, Jennifer Sims, Lorenda Labor, Nicola Mitchell, Dakota Calloway, Terry Jett, Eileen Becker, Heather Kapatz, Pilar Grunig, Yuka Suzuki, Sam Cracknell, Sophie Williams, Becky Bubbers, yep, Caleb Little, Barbara Bacon, Brett Hoare, D. Hoare, Melissa, nope, that's Mary Wilson, Jennifer, Aleph Terrace, Cameron Siggers, Brock Parrington, TJ Paranch, Samantha Hoare, Clayton Bailey, Heather Marie, Max Hunt, Kelsey Kimberly, Abby Hoyt, Aubrey Youngs, Evan Hoare, Amanda Hoare, Denton Martin, Patrick Elster. I told you donated both ways. Delaney Berry, Emily Hoare, Neely Hoare, Lewis Jones, Gideon Dorestein, Cindy Taylor, Sean Cladick, Aaron Barnes, Jessica McDougall, Lauren Laroni, Dick, Grace Kreutzer, Brett Schwalm, Tyler Ohm, Ashley Evans, Brayton Hevelin, Max Kokrowski, Brianna. Nope, that's just Brenna. Cole, Amber Carson, Coulter Drazel, Micah Bramston, Josh Devaney, Caitlin Hawks, Tracy James, Bobby Barker, Dominique Tillis, Melanie Sherman, Christian, nope, that's Crystal, Patishall, Patrick Hoare, Kelly K. Orkin, Kelly Q. Orkin, Brian Hagan, Tyson Hildebrand, Nathan Brown, Michael Hayes, Ryan Dibbert, Jimmie Churko, Kyle Jones, Brian Bacala, Jason Phillips, Karen Porciello, Curtis Stasek, D.
Paisan.
May. What is it?
It's a Paisan.
I was close. Carrie Magana, Wendy Ashton, Wendy Hoare and Ashton Hoare, Carrie Morrell, Missy Haney, Maddie Johnson, Venom Hoare, Big Red Hoare, Claudia Campbell, Cassie Hoare, Alexis Hoare, Tom Warner, Sawyer Wilcox, Austin Hoare, Allie Smith, and Zanette Mustafa.
The whores always come late. The whore's coming late always.
There's a
what
lot
was the
of
last
them.
one? What was the last one?
Austin? No, what was it? Mustafa Jaj?
There you go.
Zanette Mustafa Jaj. That's not right.
I missed
either.
that one.
You guys, thank you. All of our patrons. You guys are unbelievable people, and we can't thank you enough. You make every week worth doing these shows. You're terrific. Thank you.
Honestly, thank you, everybody, so much. We cannot do this without you. We wouldn't want to do it without you. Yeah. And you, not only do you make it a thing that's change our lives, but also you really help our brains that somebody would actually give a shit to want to hear from us. So thank you so much. And what if somebody, you bunch of whores. What if somebody, you a bunch of whores, you filthy whores out there. What if somebody wanted to call you a filthy whore, Jimmy? How could they find you?
You can do that at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter and Instagram, both. How about that? Make it easy enough. What about you, James? Where can they tell you how much they adore you
my whoriness? You can find me at Jimmie P is funny, or you can just copy and paste my last name because it's long and you'll spell it wrong, or just Google Small Town Murder Hosts and you'll find us both there. And it's less letters than typing both of our names. Right. So there you go. Yeah. Enjoy. You can find a little tip there, and then you can just copy, go to links, and you're very easy. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for everything. And we cannot wait to come back next week with more fucking craziness. Sure. And I'm excited for that Patreon. I'm excited, Jimmy. Let's get back. Yeah. We got to dive back in. We got to find more craziness.
Can't
wait. Until next week, everybody. It's been our pleasure.
Bye. Or...
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.